pull up to the spot. What's up, me amigos? You need your building clean? Then hire all my people. You might know him or you might know me. But now that you're here, you're recruited to the team. If you didn't know, we the TPC, and we all about growth. Now let's chase your dreams, baby.
Ismael Martinez, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, man. James, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. We're excited. Another episode of The Profitable Cleaner. I don't think you haven't heard us before, have you? This will be your first time, correct?
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of experience with you guys, so
Hey, well,
after we connected,
apologize.
I went on a binge and I started listening to probably 6 or 7 episodes.
What you think?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like the simplicity. I like simple businesses. I don't like when things are too complicated, and I like there's a couple topics that are just dissected in a very simple way. I'm not a very smart guy, so I like simple things, and I really like things broken down to where I can apply principles. So it was great.
Do you think smart people like simple things or complex things?
I think simple things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
I think
so
intelligence.
So you're saying you are smart? Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it. I'll let you say it. But I think that there is a lot of wisdom in simplicity. So I like simple things.
Damn.
So.
That quote alone, that's it. Thank you for joining us today. That was it. There's a lot of wisdom in it. No, it's true though. When you get things a little too complicated, now it doesn't mean that things are not challenging or can't be complex, but when you keep things simple, it makes everything much easier. Which brings me to a question. Are you ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock and rolling.
Let's
go.
did it. Why is there an animal in front of all your companies?
That's a good question.
So, by the way, for those that don't know, founder of Black Rhino Garage, Panda Pest Control, and Zebra Cleaning here in Arizona and Salt Lake.
Yeah. So this is so funny. It's always humbling for me when people ask me about our brand, because when I created it, I dream of the day when somebody will ask me that question.
Is this the first time?
No, I've been asked it. But I always feel so inadequate explaining it, because if there's one thing that I feel we've done right in our business, is our branding. We did really well with our branding, and it's helped a ton. It's facilitated a lot of the hurdles that come with the business. But back in 2019, at the beginning of the year, when I decided to go on my own and start a business, I've always had a passion for branding and marketing. So I was looking for the name of a business that had nothing to do with the service itself, and that was very memorable. And I wanted it to be easy to identify for an 80-year-old and for a 10-year-old, for a male and a female, for a Hispanic, a black, a white, Asian, it doesn't matter, right? And I wanted a short name that people will see it, and then the second they saw it, they will forever remember it. And I started thinking about a bunch of different names, and I thought, you know what, the zebra print, it's a very unique print, and everybody knows what it is. It doesn't matter who you show it to, they will tell you, oh, that's a zebra.
Yep.
And when you see the zebra, when you read the word zebra, you don't think of the word zebra, you think of the print. And the second you think of it, it just sticks with you, and you won't forget it. So, and I we use the name zebra. It's always been my dream to expand to other services, so I didn't want to confine myself with the name to just cleaning. I thought that if at some point an opportunity opened up for plumbing, for pest control, for garages, I can still name it Zebra Garages, and I am not confined by, spotless cleaning or home shine. You can't say home shine landscape, right? So I just wanted to make sure that I open my horizon, and it allowed for growth. So yeah.
But you didn't end up calling them like Zebra Garage or Zebra Pest Control. You ended up using other animals.
That's right.
What triggered the other animals? By
So
the way,
what happened
I
is-
love pandas.
Oh, I love our Panda brand. So we started business the second quarter of 2019. The third quarter of 2019. And I was so excited. I was full force with the cleaning. And then as things started to pick up, I started to think about other services. But then at the same time, as we were doing well in some areas, we were not doing so hot in some other areas. And we started coming across unsatisfied customers, people canceling their service, people saying, I will never do business with Zebra, because we messed up, and we did. So then I started getting a little concerned that if I open other services and I named them all Zebra, and then one day we messed up on their home cleaning, then they will cancel their pest control, their landscaping service, their plumbing, their HVAC, and anything else, right?
Got it.
So then what I decided to do was to break every service type by a different company, which they were unified with the brand, but they were also so individual. They stand alone. So if we happen to make a mistake that we couldn't fix, that we couldn't go back and make a customer happy on the cleaning side, they wouldn't cancel their pest control. If we messed up so bad in our pest control interaction and they had a really bad taste on their mouths, which we're always trying not to make it like that, but it happens, it wouldn't affect the relationship they have with our cleaning company.
That makes sense.
So then what we did is we created, so our residential cleaning business is Zebra Cleaning. And then when we started diving into commercial, we put that under our business Orca Commercial Cleaning. And then we have
It's called, what is
Orca.
Love it.
Because it's black and white.
Correct.
Every animal has to be black and white.
Correct. And then we have Panda, which is black and white. That's our pest control business. And then Black Rhino Garage.
Well, how many more animals are there that are black and white? What
We have a
else do you
couple. I had, in fact, it's funny. I have in my, in my files, I have the plans for other services that, as I learn about them, they're not as profitable. So I didn't bother looking into them. But I wanted to do penguin pools, and I wanted to do polar HVAC. So I had all the black and white animals.
You
There's
could do
not a lot.
like penguin snow removal. You could do snow removal. if you go to
We get
Utah.
very little snow in Phoenix. In fact,
Oh,
we
no,
haven't
in-
seen
in-
that in years. So
in Utah.
Well, Utah. So I built a partnership with a friend of mine that started the carpet cleaning side of our business, and
What's that called?
it's Zebra
okay,
Cleaning.
okay.
So then over time, as we evolved, we put everything, we consolidated everything cleaning under Zebra.
Got it.
Anything that is cleaning, window, carpet, commercial, residential, everything is under Zebra.
How big are you? And sorry, I'm like over here just fucking. Forgot I had a co-host for a second. What? How big are you guys now? Like, do you take them as an entity as a whole? Like, almost like if you're like a capital group style, like they're all under one division, or not really?
No. They're
No,
all
okay.
individuals. So our cleaning business, we're scratching about $1.5 million in
Okay.
Arizona, and then about 350, 400 in Utah.
Nice.
And in Utah, we only do carpet cleaning. We don't do any other service but carpet cleaning.
Okay.
That's pretty good, actually, just for carpet.
Is the goal? What's next for you guys? Just so that I know where to take this conversation. What's next for you guys? Like, do you guys want to be like a $20 million company? Are you thinking franchising? Are you? What is your personal goals?
I really, really like our pest control business. Right now, we're putting a lot of focus in Phoenix for pest control. And eventually, we have a list of cities that we'd love to touch on. It's a little bit easier to scale a pest control business.
Yeah.
But right now, the main focus is pest control, definitely. I spend
Okay.
most of my days, most of my time doing pest control.
So
Should we focus that on that?
yeah. No, I'm actually really curious about that side of the business.
Yeah,
Like,
I've never interviewed anybody in pest control. I'm like pretty excited.
so you start out Zebra Cleaning,
Mm-hmm.
and you see this opportunity for other services to be provided. Obviously, you saw a need for pest control. Did you have any prior experience with pest control, or like
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about the story leading into pest control, and then why specifically that market?
Yeah, well, maybe this will help a little bit if I give you a quick summary of my background.
Please.
Yeah, tell us about you, man.
Born and raised in Mexico. I was born in the city of Chihuahua, Mexico. Most of my life there. By age 18, I left Mexico to serve a service mission for my church, and I spent 2 years in New York City.
Did you know English, by the way, when you?
No, I knew the basic, red, white, yellow, potato, tomato. and all
God
of
bless
that.
USA.
Yeah. So I knew some basic. My city and my state is right across the border, so we have a great American influence on schools that teach you English, but definitely not enough to have a conversation and not enough to start a business.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, we're both from Chihuahua. He's actually
Yeah.
like an hour away from where I lived, right? I was in
Bro,
Juarez, Chihuahua, and you were in Juarez.
About 2 hours, maybe.
2 hours? Yeah. The cheese, like as you went from Juarez to Chihuahua, los puestecitos where they sell the burritos con queso menonita,
Good stuff.
asadero, those are the good ones. Those are what I miss. Okay, sorry.
So I spent 2 years in New York. I learned how to speak English. But I think the most important thing I gathered was that through that church service, I learned how to knock doors, just essentially cold call people. So that's what I did for 2 full years. So I was knocking doors. I was getting the door slammed on my door. I was getting rejected for about 14 hours a day. So it built this natural resilience to rejection, right? So I finished school. I finished that service, and then I moved to the U.S. to do my schooling. So I did 2 years at a local community college in Arizona. and then I moved to Idaho to finish up my school, and I did a degree in business.
Nice.
But then during that time, I picked up a job during summertime when I was off from school, and I would go and knock doors in different cities across the country, and I sold pest control contracts.
Oh, nice.
So I worked for a very large pest control business. When I started with them, they were small business, but then over the 10 years that I spent with them, they grew to be a very large business.
10 years? So you had 10 years of pest control sales experience.
Correct. And then recruiting. So I went from being just a regular door-to-door sales rep to then I was a helper to the manager. I was his right-hand guy for a few years, and then I was the manager myself. And I worked up my way to be a partner with this very large business.
Wow.
So yeah, I did everything from sales, recruiting, training, managing reps. At some point, we had over 100 guys that we oversaw knocking doors. And we moved across the country. I've been in Denver. I've been in Austin, Texas. I've worked in Seattle, Salt Lake City, Kansas City, just selling bug spray. And that coming from Mexico, nobody makes money with that business in Mexico. There's no such thing. Nobody buys anything on the doors. Yeah. If you go any city in Mexico and you ask somebody to sign a contract on their doorstep and give you their credit card, you'll probably get shot.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? But then when I came to the U.S. and I started doing that job, I was just fascinated by the way you can make money. Like you literally, I didn't need anything. I just needed to go and walk, knock on a door, talk to a person, they would sign a contract, and I got paid for that. I didn't need a degree. It was just, and I remember I would knock 8 to 10 hours a day, and I would get one sale, and that was just enough because I would make $150 commission, and that was good for me.
What age was that? How old were you in this 10 years?
I was 22, 23. So 22.
Bro, how old are you?
34. Yeah, got a baby face though, but.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, what the? That doesn't make any sense. The math wasn't math, and you look very young.
So actually, I want to dive in on this a little bit more. So I know a lot of people in the commercial cleaning space. The big thing is lead generation, and I just know from people that we know in the industry, some of the best lead generation that we've seen is people literally just walking into a building. And my first ever job was door-to-door commercial sales, not in cleaning. I actually sold art to offices like this, ironically enough. Cool. If someone's listening right here, I think door-to-door principles apply across the board, whether you're approaching a residence or approaching, like, you're just cold walking into like an office person. Give us some of your door-to-door
let's
principles.
Let's do some door-to-door training for the people listening.
It's so funny because I think everybody in business, especially a small service business, right? You have, I guess a lot of your audience is residential cleaning businesses, right?
Some of them, yeah. We have all kinds. I mean,
commercial.
Exterior cleaning, trash can cleaning, commercial cleaning, there's all kinds.
Yeah. And sometimes if we generalize the audience, right, because I consider myself a part of that audience, we're always looking for the silver bullet. How can I get more by doing less? And after, a few years, I just realized that it just doesn't exist. There's no such thing. We want to do it cheap, we want to do it easy, and we want a lot of it. And the math doesn't work out like that. So in door-to-door, what I've learned is that it's a very simple equation. You go knock the door, you talk to a lot of people, you close a lot of deals, period. It's a very linear equation. You knock more doors, you talk to more people, you close more deals. And there's no hack to it. There's only one way to do it. The more doors you knock, the more people you talk to, the more deals you're going to close. The more doors you knock and the more people you talk to, you get better at selling. The less you do that,
the worse you get.
Yeah.
The more
it's not that you get worse, but you just don't get better.
What did you used to say? The more hands you shake, the more money you make?
Yeah. Like Brad Lee says, 100%.
And it's so interesting. So last year we opened up our garage company. So now I was spread very thin. We had a very weak carpet cleaning division for our business. I don't know what it is, but our residential business is strong. And I've neglected that business so much, and it's still going strong. Like, it just never gives up. It's just so good. That's why I love residential cleaning. It never stops. We have great customers. Every couple of weeks we're there. Every week, once a month. We're just have about 600 recurring customers, just nonstop. And I was spread so thin that I neglected doing what I'm really good at, which is knocking doors, talking to people, and closing deals. And just at the end of this last year, my wife and I, we just bought what is my wife's dream property. We bought a house with a pretty big backyard, and She wants to have animals, horses, goats, and all of that. So we bought it. So I committed myself to a lot of money every month. And I was like, oh, crap, dude. Like, I was doing the math, and I'm barely going to make it with the money we have.
Yeah.
And my wife looks at me, and she's like, well, just go sell. Like, you know how to sell. And it's crazy, dude. Like, literally, the third day of the year, I start knocking doors. And within a week, I had closed, like, almost $35,000 worth of business. Within a week. And I didn't work that hard. I was just out there doing the work, knocking doors, dropping off my business card, saying hi to people. And it just happens.
Now, is this residential or commercial or both?
This was all commercial.
Okay, not all commercial.
Now, when I started our residential business, when was it? 2021, me and my team, my management team, we went out to Dallas, Texas for a residential cleaning convention.
Okay.
Put up by the big star of the residential space, right? So we went out there, and we were one of 3 businesses that were over $1 million.
Not crazy?
Yeah.
Not crazy?
Wild.
And coming from the world that I come from of pest control, I'm only used to like $20, $30 million pest control company. So for me, $1 million has always been like borderline embarrassing. Like, that's a pretty tiny business. And I show up, and you have these people that have been running their business for 17 years, and they're at 400,000, 600,000. And we broke $1 million in 11 months. So they had a cocktail night, so I'm there meeting with the bigger dogs of the convention. And talking to one of the guys, he looks at me and he's like, dude, there's no way you did not build a business to $1 million in 11 months. And I was like, well, yes, we did. Well, tell me the secret. It's like, you bought the accounts. You have like somebody giving you money. And I was like, no. So we get talking, and I explained to him that I started my first 3 months of the business knocking doors. I would literally go to a nice neighborhood, and I knock, and I say, hey, I do cleaning.
Yeah,
I'll do your first clean for $50. If you like it, you keep me. If you don't, at least you got a half-ass clean for $50. Like, all right, give it a shot, kid. And I will knock doors I will knock doors Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, and I will clean Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, all myself.
You started by yourself like that?
Yeah.
Let's go. Kind of makes me want to go knock, bro.
Yeah.
That's inspiring.
And literally first day, boom, we locked down 3 accounts. First day. But it's so funny. I didn't even know how to clean. I just showed up with like all the wrong tools, all the wrong products, all like stuff from like Target, and just like all over the counter stuff, like just so bad. Next thing you know, we had about 100 regular customers. So now I had to start hiring people. I got managers to help me. And then COVID hits. We were starting to take off, and then COVID hits. Everybody's panicking. And I'm just freaking out. And then the comparison started to kick in. All these businesses are doing good. They're stronger. I started to incur some debt. So I was like against the wall for a little bit. And then just the thought came, dude, you're good at sales. Go sell. Like, sales will solve all your problems. So I will literally, in the midst of COVID, I went and knocked some doors. And I told people, hey, I'll clean and disinfect your house. $50 your first service. If you like it, you keep me. If not, you keep me to the curb. You fire me, and you never call me again, and you got a half-ass clean. And everybody fell in love with us. At that time, there were a lot of companies going out of business because they were just scared, and they were just riding the wave of fear, and we were out there knocking doors. And we would knock doors, and then right when it got dark, because it's kind of creepy to be knocking doors in the dark, I then switch it up, and I would go and stand outside of Trader Joe's with flyers, and I will wait for the nice cars
Let's
to roll
go.
Let's go, man.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's like a horn, like, you know?
So-
Yo, that's
And
the
I
hustle.
love, because Trader Joe's, people that shop at Trader Joe's have money,
Oh, yeah. Right?
right? So, and I will stand outside.
You been to a Trader Joe's?
That's where I shop.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, it's 'cause he has
I'm a
money.
Walmart kind of guy, you know. I don't
Yeah,
have those.
me too.
I don't have those pesos. But what happened is that turned out into a great prospecting opportunity, because I was sitting in the parking lot, and I would wait for the Escalades and the Range Rovers and the Teslas to roll in, and I knew they had money, and I would just literally walk. I would greet them at their car, and I would walk with them into the store. I was like, "Hey, I clean homes. I'm about to go out of business because of all this madness. If you give me a shot, I'll do a clean for $100. If you like me, you keep me. If not, you fire me. Sure, kid. Here's my address. I'll see you tomorrow." And then when a Toyota Corolla or a Civic will show up, I wouldn't even talk to them. I'm like, I don't care to talk to these people. They don't have money. They're probably as broke as I am. So I was going after the Escalades and the big cars, right? And we got a bunch of customers. So during COVID, our business just took off.
All right.
Are you-
Okay,
I want-
yeah, hold on, because he can keep going, but
No,
there's
no,
too
no.
much
I
here.
want to
Go
pause
for it. Yeah,
real
that's
fast.
why I paused.
We started this podcast
By the way,
off.
Ram 1500s are for rich people too.
What's that?
The Ram 1500s, those are good for,
Oh, yeah.
for big people too.
Wait, don't you have a new Forerunner?
I know, anyway.
Anyways, hey, you started off this show by talking about there's wisdom and simplicity. And then you said something just a few minutes ago, and this is actually how Angel and I originally kind of connected and really bonded over. You said sales will solve your problems.
Mm-hmm.
And we both have strong sales backgrounds, and I agree with that sentiment so much. So for those of you guys listening, like what you did was simple. You passed out flyers, you knocked on doors, and you had conversations.
Dude, I didn't have money to print nice flyers. I still have in my house. I should have brought them.
That would have been nice.
The paper, like I made it.
What do you mean you made them?
I
You
went
drew them?
on Word, on a Word document. I pull out what is it, like columns,
Yeah, yeah.
and I made like 8 squares, and it was just pretty simple. Zebra cleaning, phone number, website, $100 cleans, and then I cut them with scissors, and that's what I gave them.
So okay. So when you're doing this though, because a lot of people get in their heads about getting. Whoa, what happened? Here we go. A lot of people get in their heads about working. You got no choice. I always say, like, if you gotta get it done, you gotta get it done. If you gotta make a call, if you gotta knock, if you gotta do all that, you just get it done. But a lot of people don't do it. What got you to be like, oh shit, we don't have money, COVID? You could have easily gone and got a job or done anything like that, but instead you printed and went and stood outside of Trader Joe's and put your ego to the side, because a lot of people put their ego there, like, oh, it's because I'm an owner, so
Yes.
therefore I don't go outside of Trader Joe's and I don't do the dirty work. Does that make sense? Even
Well, I think-
even when they're not big enough, which
I
is
think
trippy.
people that think like that shouldn't be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I think they're they need to go find a job behind a desk where they get a secretary and they get a nice little label there on their desk that says they're the big boss. But all the good entrepreneurs that I've met, we love getting dirty. We love rolling up our sleeves because we believe in our service, we believe in our mission, we believe in our business, and we're willing to risk whatever. Like I'll put in the work.
Yeah.
Like that I went in, during COVID, it is, I think about it and I just laugh. Like one day I got a call, there's not even a city, a town about 2.5 hours away from here called Prescott.
Yep.
And we got a call just randomly during COVID and we were just broke. We had no money. I had just signed up, I just bought like 5 cars for the business. So I had like no work and like just this crazy debt. And I had just signed up at least for a building. So I'm like, dude, we're broke. And I was running out of savings because I wasn't paying myself.
Yeah.
So I was taking any job, whatever, and I would have done it. And this guy calls, he's like, hey, would you do a window cleaning in Prescott? Dude, I've never done window cleaning. Guess what I said?
Yes.
Heck yeah, dude, we're the best in the valley. We'll be there. Send me the address. Dude, I never knew how much you charge for that. I didn't know the numbers. I didn't know the technique. So I showed up to my local Walmart. I got a squeegee that was like about this big and some Windex. And I brought like 2-step stool from my house. I'm like, dude, we'll get the windows done. And I showed up to this 3-story cabin. And I'm like, oh crap. And I told the guy, yeah, we'll do them. Like I accounted for the trip and the gas. I'm like, we'll charge you $400, $400 for like a 2-day thing. Because of course we didn't get it done on the first day. So I had to go around the same neighborhood, knock some doors, borrow a ladder. And the guy was like, for what? I'm like, well, we're cleaning some windows. And then this old guy came and looked at us. And he's like, bro, you're literally playing with a toy squeegee. Dude. Here. And a neighbor let me borrow the stuff to complete the job.
Let's go.
Right? And now I look back and I'm like, dude, those were just such awesome times.
What did
Yes,
the
yes.
neighbor say? Where he was like, no.
But thank goodness I didn't show up with like a branded. I was just dirty. I showed up in my beat up car.
Oh,
and
okay.
we had a.
No, but I love what you just said. You're like, I look back and those are
Oh,
such
those-
awesome times.
It makes me cry. It was just such a good time. And I remember coming home so defeated. It was so hard. My wife was pregnant.
Oh.
We had just bought a house. I was running out of savings.
2020, right?
This was 2020, yes. So that was about mid-2020, April,
Yeah.
May.
Yeah.
And the world was in fear.
Yeah.
And I was just hanging on to a dream. I'm like, dude, I just want to have my own business. And I knew I had to put in the work. I had to put in the work. And it was fun. Like now I look back and I'm like, dude, I would have never traded it for the world.
Yes.
But I do remember in the moment, that was really hard. Just doing so much work. I remember driving back at 11 p.m. from freaking Prescott with $400. Not even a freaking tip. By the time you account the beat up on the wear and tear of my car, the gas, I had to eat out there, 2 meals, in the 2 days. It took us 2 days to do this gigantic cabin, which turned out horrible. It was just probably one of the worst jobs we've ever done because I didn't know what I was doing. It was a little defeated, but now I look back and it was just such a good learning experience.
Have you ever thought about going back and just cleaning his windows for free and telling him the story?
Probably not.
That would be.
I got PTSD from that. I don't want to see
You're
that
like, I don't
house
want
ever
to see
again.
that window ever
So
again.
far, it's good memories, but
Yeah.
no.
That's pretty cool though.
But it's, we had so many experiences like that. Because at the beginning, I was cleaning, I was selling. I remember staying in my own washer and dryer of my house. In the middle of the night, I was washing the rags and prepping the caddies for the next day. And but it was good times. I loved it. And I never mind doing the hard work.
Yeah.
It's fine. And I look back and it was just such good times. And a lot of learning in that first year. Gosh, I will pay the biggest guru of the world to teach me in 1 year what I learned that year. And nobody will be able to do it. Like, you just have to go out there and do it.
100%.
Yeah, there's something about being like getting punched in the face in business and then continuing to go
And
on.
learning.
That just gives you this sense of like confidence and experience. And I think your perspective. So one, I really appreciate your vulnerability and just honesty. Like, hey, in the beginning we messed up. Like we say that all the time. We have messed up 100 times over again in business. And through those experiences, it's gotten us better. And then when I think about like our business or businesses I've been part of just 4 or 5 years ago, you're like, think about the problems you had at that time. And you're like, oh, that's cute. That's a cute little problem. And now like you just keep leveling it up. And I think it's good every now and then to reflect back and be grateful for those times, because then guess what? 4 years from now, you're going to look back at where you're at right now.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why in the last year, my perspectives changed quite a bit. I used to be chasing this big business and chasing being the top and the best, and I would get competitive with the people around me. And now, like, some of my good closest friends in Phoenix are other cleaning business owners. We help each other. This morning, I was talking to one of my good friends. And yeah, I know at some point, I'm going to look back in 5 years and say, gosh, those were the times. That was a good time when I was just trying to build a business. And I've learned to just enjoy every stage of my, business journey. I consider myself very immature still. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to figure it out. And we've done a lot of great things, but we messed up a ton. I personally, I shouldn't say we. I have messed up a lot. Our team is awesome. They are just amazing. And I'm the one that gets on the way most of the time. But yeah, we learned some pretty valuable lessons in the last 4 years.
Where'd you get your work ethic from?
I don't know. That's a good question.
What inspires you?
I've always felt like an underdog my whole life. When I was the street where I grew up, there were these neighbors to the left that were 3 brothers, very athletic, all of them. And his parents would give him like everything. They had like all the equipment to play whatever, basketball, football. In Mexico, nobody plays hockey. These kids had like rollerblades and like hockey sticks, and they would just like let everybody play. So they kind of owned the street, right? They owned all the kids because they had all this stuff to play. And then across the street, there were these 2 really tall guys that were just unbelievably good at basketball. And then there was me, that I never got picked to play. And I loved being there, and I was social, and they liked me, but I never got picked to play. So I always felt like an underdog. Then my parents made a lot of great sacrifices to put me and my sister in the best schools they could, because my parents are believers of education. And they put me in the top private school of our town, which all the rich kids go to. And all my friends had bodyguards and drivers, and then there's me. So I always felt like an underdog. And then I went on to be a missionary, and I barely spoke the language, so I felt like an underdog. And then I came back and I started doing door-to-door sales, and I worked with a bunch of guys that were very experienced, and they were really good, so I felt like an underdog. So recently, I feel like my motivation is being to prove. I used to want to prove it to other people, but now I just like to prove it to myself that I can do it.
What's went into your mind shift here lately? Because you had just said, hey, I used to really want to go out and be the best and build this big business, and I believe you will. And I already think, from what I know, you have an awesome business. But you said recently, I've had a different perspective. And you're like, I'm friends with these other cleaning owners and all that. Like, what changed?
I think it goes back to the simplicity. Just being competitive wanting to crush people, wanting to be. There's always somebody better than you, and when you're looking to be better than somebody else, your subconscious mind also understands that there's somebody better than you. So it's this very toxic self-relationship to where I'm trying to inflict onto the guy next to me that I'm better than him. Also, while I'm aware that the guy to the other side of me is better than me. So it's a very toxic way of living, right? My wife is awesome because she's a simple woman. She doesn't ask for much. She doesn't need much.
Except the new property. That was her dream.
But that's the beautiful
that's
thing,
okay.
right? Like I've always dreamed. There's a city here in Phoenix, for those that are familiar, called Paradise Valley.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And I remember on the weekends I would drive up and down and look at the $20 million homes and the few jobs that we had there. I will, chat with the owners and see what they're up to, what they do for business. And one thing that all of our customers in Paradise Valley had in common is that they were all very rude. They all treated us like, bottom of the barrel. They did not treat us with a lot of dignity. And they all seemed very unhappy. And they had everything that I always wanted to be happy. They had the cars, they had the house, they had the pools, the private planes. They had everything that I've always wanted, but they were everything that I never want to be. And recently my wife said, I just want a house. I want a big backyard. I want to have some chickens. I want to have some goats. I want to teach the kids to work hard. I want them to be responsible. So we got the house in the middle of November last year. Pretty big property. We just put some fencing.
In Paradise Valley?
Some goats. No.
Oh.
In Queen Creek. We live in Queen Creek, Arizona. And I love our little property. There's nothing to brag about it. It's a small little house, nothing to it. We just have a big lot. And we just put 2 goats.
Nice.
Pickles and Snow White, named by my kids.
Nice.
And then we have 8 chickens. And this Saturday, actually, we have a big field trip planned. We're going to go and pick up 12 more chickens.
Nice.
And there's just such beauty in simplicity.
Yes.
I love it. We're just having such a good time as a family. And this last week, I was in Paradise Valley. And I started knocking some doors for our pest control business. I was knocking doors in these big $1 million homes. And I went to my old ways. I want to go and look at these really nice homes where the nice Ferraris are parked outside. I want to talk to these guys. And dude, within 30 minutes, I was like, yeah, I don't want to be that. I don't want that.
Take me back to the farm.
I'm like, yeah, I'm going back with my goats, with my kids playing in the dirt, right? So I feel like I'm this pendulum. And I'm always swinging like that. Some days I just want all these great things, and then kind of come back to reality that I don't need all these things to be happy. But I think something within me always wants to be very ambitious. I always want more things. I always want growth. But I'm starting to learn that it's just my desire to better myself. And there's a lot of other ways to better myself than just through money and through business. So that's been like my focus the last, year, 6 months. So long-winded answer.
No,
Sorry.
I think that's
That's a
well
great
said,
answer.
man. I think a lot of people try to validate themselves through business results. And yeah, that's a good way to validate yourself. But also, like, when I'm not doing business and when I'm alone, am I content?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with you, man. Like, I used to want the exact same thing. I used to drive through these mansion neighborhoods in Denver and dream about it. And sometimes I still do. And I still catch myself, and it's like, really all I want is like a little house with a few acres and a pond that I can fish at with my boys.
And I think it's different for every person, right?
Yeah, I agree.
For me and for my wife, it's crazy that we brought in 2 freaking goats, $400 a piece, right? It's just it's a little thing, put some fencing. It's pretty rustic. There's nothing fancy to it. And we got them off a trailer, put them in our property. The second they touched the ground in our property, my wife started just bawling. And I look, I'm like, well, what? Are you okay? She's
happened?
like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And it's just, my wife is just a great example that happiness is pretty simple. You don't need to complicate happiness. And she's like, I just want to have a home where we can be safe and where we can raise our kids to be responsible, to have their chores, to learn how to take care of each other, of our animals, to listen to us. And she was just, her joy was full that day. And as a consequence, my joy was full. I was like, well, this is the freaking life. I was just on top of the world.
Where's she from?
World. She's from Arizona, from Queen Creek.
Oh, you met her here?
I met her in Utah, but yeah.
He's like, I was door knocking.
Yeah. Is that how you met her?
No, a good friend of mine, we were roommates, and she came up to visit. She was in town, and she came to visit her cousin. And I met her there. She walked in the house, and I'm like, ooh, Hello.
Yeah.
So then that same night, I'm like, hey, well, you want to go out to dinner? And we went out and got some dinner. We went bowling, and
Something tells me that you guys got married quick. Did you guys get married quick?
we did, yeah. So we started dating in, I think, if I remember correctly, October, and we were married in May.
Did you see how I caught that?
There you
That's
go.
pretty good, huh?
There you go.
I'll tell you why though, because it looks like you were about to tear up talking about your wife.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Why is that? And by the way, I don't know if you can tell, but our podcasts are a little different.
Or what?
Our podcasting style is a little
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
We
I
don't-
love it. I like
yeah,
it.
we don't have to do all business.
Well,
We people know that, but whenever we see a man get emotional about their wife, I personally think it's something beautiful, because I think like men are called to protect, to provide, and to be the priest of a household, like to lead them. And you look like
Well,
you like you gave her the goats in the house, and that's like this little feeling of like, cool, like I'm providing what she wanted, and you seem very happy, and it was
Well,
beautiful,
I think I get emotional because it hasn't always been like that.
of course.
And especially when I was so caught up on the business, I forgot about what it really is important. And I neglected my family for the first 2 years of my business. I made bad choices. I put us in a very difficult position. And when the world, when our social media showed that we were killing it, that Zebra was just so successful and that Ishmael was on the top of the world, I was actually in the dumps. And now when I'm pretty quiet, it's a little harder to find me online. When I make a little bit less noise is when I'm starting to climb up the top of the mountain. So my wife has been super supportive through all my weaknesses and all my mistakes. She's been there and she's patient with me, and she helps me stay grounded. Because I tend to get, start flying high with no purpose pretty often. So she helps me stay grounded and have a much deeper purpose.
Fly high with no purpose. I tend to fly. Damn.
How many kids?
That's where you get lost, bro.
How many
Makes
kids
sense.
do you have?
We have 3 kids. I have a
3.
boy, a 6-year-old boy, a 4-year-old girl, and a 6-month-old baby.
Oh my
boy.
God.
Ay, muy ocupado.
Well, a little bit, yeah. Not a lot of sleeping though.
That's like the
Wow.
the 6 words that he knows, muy ocupado.
Hey, I
but it
like
sounds perfect, huh? So I was telling
It's
him yesterday. I was like, "Whoa, that was very good." He's starting to pick up speed on it too, so it's good. 6, 4, and 6 months.
6, 4, and 6 months, yeah. So Sander was at 6, Camila is 4 years old, and then Enzo is 6 months old.
Camila. I've always loved that name. Such a
Oh,
good
we
name,
love
bro.
Man, I relate to your story so much, brother. Your passion for sales, just kind of starting from nothing and feeling like the comeback kid or the underdog. And then I too, 6-year-old, 3-year-old, and man, I was a piece of shit husband for a long time when I was early on in business. Thankfully for me, I didn't have kids at that time. I was married or I was with my wife for a little while before we had children. But I think back, man, and I'm like, man, I was kind of like a terror, like when it came to like putting business first. And we were just having this conversation with another guest, and I'm going to ask you, how do you how have you evolved, and how do you manage it now when it comes to like, you have like these multiple businesses, you have multiple services, you have multiple children, an awesome wife,
And multiple goats.
and multiple
Two-
multiple
two-
goats.
Two to be exact.
Yeah.
Soon to be 4, because one of them is pregnant. But
Oh my
anyway,
God. Damn.
Jeez.
I'll
What?
send you a video of me
How fast? That
delivering
was
goats.
fast.
We bought it. We bought the goat already pregnant.
Oh,
so
I was like, damn, bro,
He's
they
like-
move that fast.
He's like,
I was
that's
like,
how,
what's going on,
he's
bro?
like, that's how you scale.
that's
yeah,
how you scale,
exactly.
though. Acquisitions.
By,
But I love business and I love money. No, I don't love money. I
There
love
you go.
making money, but I don't care for money.
We respect money.
I should respect it more. I feel like I'm not very respectful to money. I think sometimes I'm a little irresponsible with money.
Okay, you don't steward it properly.
I feel like I'm doing a better job now, but it hasn't always been like that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, there's not a lot of good things from that mindset. But the one good thing is that it's always been very easy for me to delegate and to surrender some of the control of the business. I think business owners, one of their biggest constraint is that they think that they can do it better. And they don't want to delegate or give responsibilities to anybody else,
100%.
especially in cleaning. So when you look at cleaning, the vast majority of the cleaning business owners are not business people. They're cleaners.
They're operators.
Cleaners turn into business owners, right? And that's probably the vast majority of cleaning business owners that I've met, and I've met a lot. And you have a handful that are business people that they understand the opportunity, but for the most part are cleaners turn into business people. And it's really hard to surrender control. It's really hard to let somebody else make decisions. And that's never been a problem for me. We have great, and because of that, I think we tend to get very lucky that we get great people. And I think people are naturally good. And when you give them the freedom and the trust, people just take on, and they're just so good at what you assign them to do, what you request of them. I found that when I had a lot of control over the business, that's when the people around me seemed to not be so good. And back in the day, I used to say, well, my team is not good. This person that I hired is not good. This manager is not doing their job. Now I look back and I say, you know what? I was the biggest hurdle in the business. If I
100%.
just would have gotten out of the way and let them make decisions, they probably would have made a much better decision than me.
100%.
But it's taken me some years, to figure that out. But yeah, I think what helps me be able to do everything, like my wife and I have a few agreements. So there's things of our family that she 100% deals with and she oversees, and then other things that I 100% oversee. I don't step on her toes, she doesn't step on my toes, and that's that conversation.
Would it be crazy for you to share those?
But most of the things of the family, she's in charge of that.
Okay.
Right? So my job is to go and make money, make sure that the bank account has enough for her to go get groceries and to buy whatever is needed for the home. And secretly, I have this responsibility that I want to make sure I never tell my wife no. So if she asks for a new car, my job is to say yes. If she wants goats, I should say yes. And whatever it takes, I just go and make it happen, right? But when it comes to kids' education, schools, like I got no clue how the school districts work. We just got renters for one of our house, and they were asking me about like the electric company and the water, and I got no clue who we use for that. So my wife manages all of that. On the other side,
what a champ!
What's that?
What a champ!
Oh, she's awesome, and she's more organized than me. She's more disciplined with that. She gets it done. I'm a pretty good procrastinator. But then anything that requires to go make money, to negotiate, I kind of take on that role.
It sounds like you're now getting to a place of like, now you guys are going full on like your wealth, right? Wealth building almost. Or has this been a priority for a while now?
I mean, it's always been a priority. It's so hard to talk about wealth when you're so broke. So when we started our cleaning business, I mean, it's really hard to create generational wealth when you're running on like $1,500 a month.
How long did it take you from the moment you guys started to now finally come, okay, here's
years.
$100 at least,
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
But every penny that we got, I reinvested it and I hired more people. And that's why ever since year 2 of our business, I haven't been involved in our cleaning business. I have managers that run it for me.
Okay.
So that's what's allowed over time to then go and open other businesses. So now they're all starting to pay off. Like now I'm getting a better pay from the cleaning business. Now I'm getting a better pay from our pest control. Yeah. And then I do have the privilege to go and entertain new businesses like the garage. Like I learned about that business and I was like, oh, sweet, let's go give it a shot. And I had some money to invest and buy equipment. We have zero debt for any of the businesses.
Nice.
So now it's starting to pay off. But the first 2 years, we were so broke. I keep a copy of my tax return from 2020? Like I paid myself $9,000 the whole year. So I was living off our savings. And then 2021, we paid ourselves $22,000, which is for a family of 4, and 4 and a dog, like it's just not a whole lot of money.
What kind of dog?
A golden doodle.
Oh my God! You guys got. Then you also got the bougie.
Of course.
Dog. Churro.
Churro. That's what we cinnamon color. But it was very. So it just took some time.
Yeah.
But like I said, I've always been making slow progress, one step at a time. So now we bought a new house and we were able to move some money around and keep our last home. So we're renting it out.
Nice.
So little by little things are stacking up. But it took some time.
Throughout this process, your parents still live in Chihuahua?
Yes, sir.
Still, okay, awesome. Hey, what do they think about you coming to the U.S. to open up businesses? So
my mom is industrial engineer, and she's retired now, but she spent her whole life teaching at the state university. My dad is also a teacher, so they're crazy believers in education. So in our whole family, in my mom's side of the family, both sides of the family, only me and a cousin have businesses. And we've always been labeled as the black sheep. Not that we're bad, but just like, look at these guys, they're not getting a good job.
Zebras.
Yeah, you've been labeled as
The
the
zebras.
zebras.
Yeah, we don't get, we don't have a good job. We don't get 2 weeks of vacation a year. We don't get in Mexico, there's this like Christmas bonus that everybody gets called aguinaldo.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't
Yeah.
get this money.
Just learned about it.
So, all of these things, we don't have medical insurance sponsored by our jobs, like all of these benefits. But, and I really don't mean this to brag or to make myself, but we are the two guys that are doing the best out of
Yeah,
That's how it
100%.
works.
right?
Yeah, that's how it works.
So even at this point, my parents keep asking, hey, so now that you finish college, which I don't use any of my college education for what I do for a living, my dad every now and then he slides it in there. He's like, hey, well, have you thought about going back and doing your master's? And I'm like, for what?
Have
Well,
you
so
thought
that,
about
so
it?
that
though?
you can get a better job. I'm like, I don't need a job. He said, well, I mean, I'm not saying a job, like just you can do. I'm like, and I joke with him. I'm like, Dad, if I go to school, like who is going to employ the people that go to school?
100%.
Like if you remove me, who's going to employ the masters? And he's like, oh no, you're right. So even now, and that's a cultural thing, right?
It is, huh?
So I think it's been difficult for them to understand, but now they're starting to see, the guy's got a good family. He's got his own house. He pays his own bills. He's got to figure out. So they mess with me less and less. Now they just come and enjoy the grandkids. They come and let me pamper them. My dad is a big Texas Roadhouse fan, so every time he comes up, I'm like, how about it?
Why is every Mexican dad in love with Texas
Dude,
Roadhouse?
that's so
like
true.
it is
Texas
their
Roadhouse
mode.
and Olive Garden. So those are the go-to.
Yeah,
We always do the tour every time they come up.
100%, 100%.
The first time
You know
I
where we took him at Cattleman's allá in El Paso? Did you ever go to Cattleman's?
No,
If you don't, no, Cattleman's, the steak. We didn't take you there. I'm saying my parents. It was like a really big steak. But yeah, that was just in El Paso, and yeah, Texas Roadhouse. That is the go-to move.
My dad loves it. So it's nice that now I'm able to pamper them because they've done so much for me, right? Like I'm here in the U.S. I'm a product of my dad's vision. He wanted me to have a better life. So yeah, it's good.
So I do want to talk about like how you elevated into pest control and maybe educate the audience a little bit on pest control, because you said something interesting. You're like, well, hey, pest control, it's not like cleaning. If you just start a business, you could go to jail, because I'm assuming there's licenses and certifications and all that. You're on the pest control board out here in Arizona. Just maybe give people an overview of like the home service pest control industry and game.
I think one of the reasons a lot of people find cleaning as their start. If you look a lot of entrepreneurs, you start asking them, a lot of them will tell you, oh, I used to have a cleaning business. I think the reason why a lot of people start in business in cleaning is because there's no barrier of entry. Anybody can go clean. You don't need any licensing. You don't need half of cleaning companies are not even a formed company. So
Yeah.
she's a lady that has a Facebook page and she gets leads and she's got 3 people that help her. And that's half of the whole pool of cleaning companies in the country, right?
Yeah.
So pest control is not like that. Pest control is highly regulated by the state. You're dealing with pesticides and chemicals. Chemicals that, if not handled properly, can be pretty dangerous for consumers, for your customers, for your technicians, and then for the environment. So it's not something that you can just say, oh my gosh, I'm doing cleaning and I have a day off on Friday, let me go do some pest control. It's so regulated that infractions like that can land you in jail. So, but that's my background. I spent 10 years doing pest control sales. So I worked at a very large pest control company, and I learned from front to back the whole process of pest control. Well, not everything, but I had a pretty good sense of what a pest control business is like. The one beautiful thing about pest control versus cleaning, to put those right next to each other, is that it's a highly reoccurring business. People sign contracts with you, which in cleaning is really hard to get a residential customer to sign a contract. It's most of the work you do is done outside, so your liability is way lower, and the margins are way higher.
Yeah.
So, and one thing that I've always struggled so much with cleaning is very subjective. I'll give you an example, right? Like
That's such a good point.
I used to have and I hate to say it like this, I won't say any names, but probably the worst cleaner we've ever had. not very committed, not very responsible, very unreliable. And we had a handful of customers that loved this cleaner. Like they would not take a cleaner unless it was this girl. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? She's like the worst, right? And then I had probably one of the nastiest interactions I've ever had with a pretty arrogant customer was a customer complaining about our top cleaner. Like literally, I will put that cleaner against any cleaner, not in the nation, but in the world. She's just the best. She does her job to perfection. She is the sweetest person ever. She's so nice, does her job with a smile on her face. She works fast, she works right, everything. I mean, and this lady was just talking like she was the worst person in the planet. So cleaning is very subjective. And I think the problem is that every person knows how to do cleaning. Whether you know how to do it right or wrong, you've wiped a counter before, you've sweep a floor and mop a floor before.
You would hope
you
so,
scrub a toilet at some point in your life,
exactly.
right? So when you get somebody else, when somebody hires a cleaning company, they have an expectation in their mind.
Yeah.
Right? When you do pest control, you're a pest control licensed technician by the state of Arizona. Not a lot of people have that. Most homeowners don't have that. So when you walk in, they regard you as an expert. They don't question you. They, oh, yes, sir. Same thing with carpet cleaning. When you roll in with your big van and then you open the door and there's this huge machine that makes a ton of noise. The carpet cleaning, I can't remember what it's called, but the steam cleaner. People regard you just a little bit higher than when you walk in with a caddy with cleaning products and a couple rags. They're like, 100%. Oh, I have one of those in my closet, right? Under the sink, I have the same thing that my cleaner uses. So that's what I love about pest control. You are regarded as a professional. Because of that, you are able to require people to sign a 1 year to 2 year commitment. You have them all on auto pay, so your collections are a lot easier than when you're having people pay you with cash or with a check, which we don't do that at Zebra. Everything is done electronically, but still the majority of the businesses are still gathering checks, cash, Venmo, blah, 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 all these Cash App, whatever they use, right? So I love that about pest control. And then I love that most of it is outside. So you don't need to send a person to be inside the house for, what's your average clean? 1 or 2 people in a house for 2 hours.
Right.
A pest control service, if my technicians are spending more than 25 to 30 minutes at a house, like I message them to pick it up.
How did you discern to get started in pest control?
Well,
I mean, because you had the
background.
experience. So the experience made you research the actual business, and you're like, well, like I could actually sell it. So let me figure out the licenses and all that, and the equipment.
Yeah,
and all
the
that.
lines. It's just like everything in life, right? Once you make a decision, the other things become little things. Like the licensing. I hear people that don't really want to start a business, but they like the idea. They make the licensing a big hurdle. They make the equipment a big hurdle. Oh, I don't know. I don't have the equipment. Oh, I don't know. I don't have the license. It's like, bro, just go do the freaking work. Get started, right? So I decided I want to have a pest control company, and it's 2 Google searches away from literally get it up off the ground. It's not that complicated when you have a good sense of the business. And I knew, once again, the simplicity of the formula. To start a pest control business, I had something very powerful that not everybody has. I had a database of about 3,500 people that we have done cleaning for them. And I had their name, their phone number, their email, and their address, and the square footage of their house. So I can sort everything by zip code, and I can say, okay, I have a pool of like 320 people in this zip code, which is the most dense zip code for our zebra cleaning business. I can go and market to them, and it will make for a really easy business to run a pest control business in this zip code. So I started sending mass text messages, mass emails, and overnight I got 200 pest control customers.
Wow.
When I say overnight, it's like within a week or 2.
Yeah.
To where most business owners, it would have taken them a year to go and grab them one by one. But I leverage our customer list. And then after that, once I had some money coming in, I had some contracts in place, I had a truck, equipment, product licenses, all the stuff that is really easy to get. Then I did the part 2 of the business, which is go knock some doors, get more accounts.
Do you I've heard that. Do you do the whole 4x4 whenever you get to a door? Have you heard of those? Where you like do the
right,
job
for
out?
the left?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do,
Do you
something
teach that to
similar.
your technicians or something similar, or what are some strategies you give your
We call it
technicians?
clover knocking, and that's
Clover knocking.
yeah, which is essentially you do a clover. You do two, and then all 3 across. Which, when you understand business, right, in a service business, one of the things that increases your profits is your route density.
Your route density.
Correct.
That makes sense.
So there is a street here in Arizona where we have 7 cleaning customers all in a row. So when we go there, like we literally get 7 customers in 2 days because there's no driving. They park the car in the middle and they go from one house to the other. And we send a team of 2, so the girls are like, okay, I'll get started. Once I'm done with the bathrooms, I'm going to the next house, catch me there. And they start just moving, right? This is true for cleaning. It's even better for pest control. A decent route of cleaning, you can put 3 homes in a day, 4, at least our clientele. 4 is too much, 2 to 3 homes per day. In pest control, if you route it right, I've done 16 homes in one day by myself.
Wow. That's about what, like 7 hours of work, 8 hours of work at most?
Yeah, 7, 8.
Depending on the size and the type of
Which,
work.
when you think about it, for longevity, if you have a route of 3 homes and then 1 customer cancels that day for X or Y reasons, right? That's why I love pest control much more than cleaning, because you have a route of 3 homes. We'll label each home at $250. So you have a route for $750. 1 customer calls and says, hey, Junior is not feeling good. He's got a bug. He's throwing up. I don't want anybody in my house. I need to cancel today's service, which every cleaner owner knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, oh, freak. I'm already dispatching the girls. Okay. You just lost 1/3 of your daily revenue, right? And you already had to pay the overhead of that day, which is to dispatch the vehicle, to get the supplies, to have the people in place, everything that goes with it. In pest control, if I have a route of 15 homes and 1 says, hey, I can't take you on today, which most of the times they don't because it's outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Then
That's true.
then my downside on it is so small. Sure, we'll come back later.
So do you guys ever, though, like when I had a pest control company, like they also came inside? Is that just like, and
If you want it. So our service, if a pest control company is doing their job, the better they spray outside, the less need for the inside is.
Yeah, I think insights, if I learned correctly, actually in your house when I was living in Denver, it's almost like to reset, right? Like if there's too many spiders or too many things or whatever, they start inside, go outside, but then after that, they were like, oh, I'll never have to come inside again.
it's just like,
We
it's
have-
maintenance.
It's maintenance.
We have
exactly.
customers that we've never set foot inside their homes.
Nice.
Those customers are awesome.
There is
Because-
something sexy about pest control. Now that I'm like thinking about it,
It
I'm
is
like,
so sexy.
because I
It
did
is.
treat them like technicians, like
Heck yeah.
full blown experts.
Oh, totally.
I was like, yo, you tell me, bro. I don't know. I just know there's beehives there. I know that there's a spider here. There was a scorpion. And they're like, we got you, bro. And then they're just doing their thing, and I'm like, whoa.
No doubt about it.
I never
man.
doubted their amount that they charged me. I was just like, just charge me because I don't want these. I don't want these bugs. I don't want to see this.
And a lot of those things can be done in the world of cleaning to increase the perceived value, right? So that's where I think at Zebra we did a good job with our brand. So we show up in a really nice car that has a really nice brand on it, black color with white lettering. The girls that we wear all black, head to toes black with just a zebra in the front and across their chest. We like to keep our equipment as close to new as possible. So as soon as a vacuum is getting a little beat up from the everyday work, we just toss it in the trash and we get a new one because that's part of our brand, right? And as we do that, that helps the perceived value. We're no longer a cleaner from a Facebook group.
Yeah.
We're now a company.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Where did you get that from? Like, where did you learn the whole like perceived value, brand image, like, or was that always like, is that something like almost like in your DNA? There's some people that like they know about brands.
I think I have an eye for it.
Yeah.
There's a few things that I've really...
Because I know you like kicks. I saw your your
yeah.
LinkedIn. I was like, damn, he's got swag. Like he likes nice things, but not as in like bougie, right? Like you said, we're very simple, but
Yeah.
there's something about like the specific color schemes, outfits that you like. And so have you always had that and you just brought it to your
think
business?
So. I think so. And I think that's one of the few things, if not the only thing, that I can very confidently speak that I can do.
Okay.
And when it comes to branding, to marketing, some of the sales, that is probably the one thing where I can say, yeah, this is my core competency.
Okay.
Operations, cleaning, that I'm probably the worst cleaner in our business. Operations, I don't think that I can get it done, but I don't know that I'm very good. But because of that, because we've been able to always be funneling and fueling jobs, like we always had a full schedule. Like if you call our business right now, we can't take you tomorrow. You're gonna have to wait a couple weeks. And it's because we've done a good job. We set up our business on a platform of marketing. Like the foundation of our business is marketing.
I think that's really well said. I think it's often overlooked. And I want to know then, there's something called add-on services or add-on opportunity. And I was told, like, if you're thinking about acquiring a business, you should not, keep in your current core business. Don't acquire a business in a different industry.
Correct.
Have it as an add-on opportunity. So like you didn't acquire, but you created. So how did Black Rhino Garage come to be?
So our pest control business was born it was facilitated from our cleaning business, right? So Zebra, both money and opportunity was invested into Panda. About probably a third of my pest control customers are brand new homeowners. And brand new homeowners, as we go and do their regular pest control service, I see that they're just decking out their garage, doing their back landscape. They're touching up their kitchen. They're doing just so much to their new home.
Yeah.
And I saw an opportunity that a lot of people are starting to do epoxy flooring. Arizona homes don't have any storage room in their homes, so selling these cheap overhead racks and shelving for the wall is very popular in Arizona. 1 out of every 2 or 3 homes has those garage solutions. And I have the clientele. I know where to find them. So it's an easy sale.
How do you cross-sell and cross-promote? So like if you
Well,
have...
they don't, right? Like you don't. Zebra doesn't promote Panda. Panda doesn't explore Rhino, right? The only thing you do is exchange databases because they're technically under the same company.
Both. So we
Both.
leverage our database. For a period of time at Zebra, our cleaning business, I took on the phones. I said, hey, you guys do routing, you guys do customer service, but any sales funnel them to me. So somebody will call wanting to get a new service. I'll pick up the phone. Yeah, sure. What's square footage of your home? What are you looking for? And I always tell them, well, let me see if I can save you some money. And I'll put him on hold for like 10 seconds. And I say, oh, it looks like we have a coupon here that you can use. If you switch your pest control to Panda, by being a Panda Pest Control, you actually get $50 off your clean. Would you like to do that? I can save you $50 by changing your pest control solution. And some people say yes, and some people say like, no, not interested. I'd rather pay $50 but not trouble my pest control. Okay, that's fine. But I got, I don't know, 50, 60 customers just asking and giving them a $50 discount.
50 to 60 customers with a $50 discount to a new service is a no-brainer.
No, and if you look at my average contract for pest control is roughly $600, so 600 times 60. So we generated $36,000 over the phone, like literally out of like.
And these are
thin air.
Contracts, right?
And they're contracts.
Yeah.
You can't cancel it. If they cancel it, I charge them $150 to part ways with me.
And so like
So it's an expensive divorce with your pest control company.
so then like let's say you're looking at a garage. You're about to do the flooring in the garage, and new homeowner, and you see that maybe they need pest control. Then like, do you train your team to start conversations with the other services? Or?
So what we do, pest control, the operational cost of pest control is pretty low. So we roll in, but then once they're paying us, the margins are great. So I'll give you an example. Towards the end of last year, we did this massive house in Mesa, just huge custom home, a big garage. It was like $15,000 garage, right, just for their flooring. So much money that they're paying me, and the margins are so good in garages that I have enough money to spare them a free clean and to spare them a pest control job. So I told them, yeah, one of the things we do, new homeowners like you, we have a partnership with a company called Panda Pest Control. You get the garage through us, we pay for 6 months of free pest control for you.
Oh, wow.
The first 3 months of any new homeowner is when they're setting up their services. That's when they're building relationships with their new contractors. If I keep them past those 3 months, they're mine forever. Unless I like go and like screw up big time. Yeah. Right? So they're like, oh, sweet. Well, my cost in the whole 6 months will be, I don't know, call it $100, $150. But there's this big house that once they're going to start paying, which actually, and now in March, they're going to start paying for their own service. I'll make my money in a month and a half, 2 months. Then what's so funny is like these ladies already started referring us for pest control to like so many other people. Just a very low expense for me.
Makes
Super
sense,
low.
though.
Yeah. So once again, like our businesses, what I do for work, my work is generating business. That's what I do. The fulfilling of the garages, I suck at it. The fulfilling of the pest control, I'm not very good at it. Cleaning a house, really, I'm not very good at it. But I can keep them coming.
And at what point do you replace yourself in sales? Do you is there a path to replacing yourself in sales?
I feel like I don't have it very clear though. That's one of those things that I need to polish and make it better.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's what I contribute to my businesses.
Mm.
Like even when it comes to like running my business, I'm not the best.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but I'm
So
not the best at running it. And I've learned a ton. Like I can do it, and I'm sure I can do it better than other people. But I'm sure that a lot of people can do it way better than me. But what I'm good at is like that's what I'm good at. Bringing in the business, and I can do it literally. It sounds arrogant, but I can do it on my slip. Like I go out there and shake a couple hands and boom, make $35,000 worth of business in two follow-up visits. And it sounds arrogant, but that's the beauty. That's what I'm good at.
I don't really know if that's arrogance or just experience, because like
Confidence.
you and confidence, of course, because you have. They say you don't become a true expert in something until you have 10,000 hours into it. Like you have way more than 10,000 hours into it before you even started these businesses. Just knocking doors alone, and that's like the grittiest type of sales, in my opinion. We come from cold calling. I think door knocking's.
Yeah, I did door to door, and
I think it's hard.
I
Yeah,
didn't like it.
And what's so crazy is that once again, the formula is so simple. Like I used to like people on like these Facebook groups would like message me and say, well, I'll pay you money to mentor me. And like, they loved it up to when I tell them, okay, well, if you really want to grow your business, you got to go knock some doors, dude. They wouldn't talk to me ever again. Because really the answer to growing a service business is pretty simple. Just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
I've learned that for the most part, against what most people believe, there's very little you can do to differentiate yourself from the competition. It doesn't matter how much I tell you my cleaning is better. Once again, it's a subjective service. I like Maria better, but she retired, so I'm hiring you. You're the second choice. And it doesn't matter how much I sell myself as being the greatest. I don't care. I miss Maria. Maria was part of the family. But she sucked at cleaning. You're not a part of the family. You're a contractor, right?
That's funny. That's so true though.
Yeah.
Especially in residential services, like they are very attached to their.
Well, I remember meeting at the beginning and networking with home cleaning business owners, and they would like highly criticize me because of our cleaning process. That was not the best. Like, we didn't clean very good. And I was like, yeah, but we have 600 reoccurring services. Like 600 reoccurring customers. It's a lot for residential. Anybody that is running a residential company, 600 reoccurring customers, it's a lot.
100%.
It's a lot. There's ladies that are losing their minds with 40 customers.
Yeah.
We were just like clockwork, 600 of them. And then I have these ladies telling me, or these business owners, oh, no, you don't know what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing. Like, we're growing a business, right? So the service itself is very subjective. I think there's a threshold that needs to be met of quality and of customer service that has to be met. But once that's met, I feel like the increments, the amount of credits you get for going above and beyond are very small.
Yeah.
They're very small. Now, the focus has to be on the convenience, on the consistency of the work, everything that it goes around the work. Your billing, your customer service, your communication, your insurance, your branding, how easy they can find you, how sexy your website is, your Instagram page, your Facebook page. Then all those things start to matter more than the cleaning itself.
100%. No, I think a lot of our mentors, like the ones that have made it, and I'm talking like multi-million-dollar companies, they're like, if you think that your competence is in cleaning, then you're not in the right business.
Correct.
And
once again, it's because they're cleaners, they're not business owners.
Exactly. And I think that's what we're just talking about. One of our mentors also always says like the I, the we, the they is the stages of a CEO. I do it, I clean, I blah, blah. And a lot of operators get stuck there. Then you got the we, right? Like we do it. And he's like, and then when you turn into an owner, an actual owner, not an employee of your business, then it becomes they. And if they come to you and, hey, I need a clean, they will take care of you. They will do it. And you empower, you become a manager of resources at that point. You make sure that there's money distributed properly, make sure they have the right tools, the right supervision, everything, and you let them run the business, which sounds like your cleaning company is exactly that. And the other ones, you're slowly going into that. Have you ever looked into like exterior cleaning? Like soft wash, pressure wash, even like lighting? Have you ever looked into lighting?
I've looked into lighting. The one reason why we were very dominant in cleaning is the competition in home cleaning is weak. With the little thing I know about marketing, we can crush just about everybody. when you get to soft washing and all, then the competition starts getting a little bit more expensive. Right?
Oh,
Now
yeah.
all of them are running ads. All of them have a better SEO. All of them have
Makes sense.
some sort of better branding. Their margins are a little healthier. They can control a lot more variables because you're outside. Inside, there's so many variables that you just can't control. So when you're outside, most homes follow the same patterns. If you look at Arizona, all the homes are the same. They all look the same. Denver, same thing. They're all the same homes. When you step inside a house, every home is different.
Yep.
So we did good there, and we were able. My dream has always been to grow, to make it big, and I think in residential we found that niche that we had very little competition. Like I'm not worried about competition in residential.
What do you do to develop your mindset? Like, how do you personally grow? Like, you have some business savvy, and I know that comes from experience, but you seem more seasoned than maybe years you have in business. So what do you do to keep your mindset right and fresh?
I think what most entrepreneurs do: books, other people. I like to talk to people that are where I want to be, not the people that are where I come from.
Where do you want to be?
I like to have multiple businesses that don't depend on me. So I like talking to people that have 2, 3, 4, 5 different businesses that they're not involved. And I also like talking to people that live life on their terms. So I know a lot of rich people that they're like stressed out of their minds.
Yeah.
One of the wealthiest guys that I've ever met in Phoenix, me joking one day, I said, I'll trade you my car for yours. He had a beautiful McLaren in his garage. And without skipping a beat, he said, I'll trade you that and your life for mine. And like it really took me back. And he's like, dude. Yeah. And I saw this guy's soul. He looked at me. He said his house was 17,000 square foot.
And yeah, that's a big house.
He hired us. We clean his house once a week, and I had to show up with 6 people. And he paid us for all 6 people, like all day there. It was just this big house. Didn't care to pay whatever we charge him. But he said, Ishmael, every day when I walked from my bedroom, which was the very back room, to the kitchen, it's a reminder how lonely I am.
Damn.
That my wife is no longer with me.
Damn, bro.
That my kids don't come to see me unless I give them money. It's like every time I look at my garage and I see how many cars, it's once again a reminder how lonely I am. I can only drive one of those cars at a time. So he said, dude, you're living the dream. You go in and out of people's houses. You're interacting with your employees. You're trying to build something. You have some meaning. He's like, I haven't had meaning for a very long time. Dude, that hit me right in the stomach. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Where do you feel people find meaning? What would you tell him for him to find meaning again?
I think it goes back to simplicity. I think that the meaning comes from like the simple things. And that's why I love people that live life on their terms. Like I have this good friend. He loves his freaking dog. He's annoying, dude. He's always posting about his dog. He's always going on runs with his dog. And he's always at the pool with his dog. But, bro, the guy loves his freaking dog. He's living the dream. He's doing what he loves. And then you have all these people that are driving the sports cars and they're living in the Paradise Valley mansions and they're flying private and they're pissed at the world the whole time. So then really wealth, it's about perception, right? What really is. And you talk to any older, wealthy person and you ask him, hey, what would you tell yourself if you were young? None of them will tell you, oh, make more money. None of them.
That's true.
They would all say, hey, spend more time with family. Work on yourself. Work on your health. Take it easy. Slow down just a little bit. Focus on your relationships. Make a lot of friends. And I don't want to get to that age to learn that lesson. I'd rather learn it from them because it looks like life has, in a very tough way, taught them that lesson. So I'd rather learn it, and I struggle with it. I think the natural man, the weak man in me wants the sports cars and the big house and the private planes. But it's a constant battle that I have in my brain. But I feel like I understand it, so it's easier for me to ground myself and say, simple things will make me happy.
Can you have both though? Can you be simple and have those?
I think you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just at the stage. So I think it's at the right stage of life, right? I think sometimes we want everything now. We want everything quick, and then you get indebted or over leverage yourself, and then it's just chaos, right?
Correct.
So okay.
And I have dreams and ambitions, right? I'm not saying that if the opportunity is there to grow a business and to make more money and to have the sports cars and the nice house, like of course I want that. But I don't, that's not the focus.
Yeah.
I think as I focus on the simple things that truly matter, all of those things come by default. Like I don't even have to work that hard for them. Like they will just come knocking on my door. And it's been like that. I literally, this property that we just bought, which is a beautiful big property, it came knocking on my door. I didn't look for it. Like we weren't looking for it. It showed up. It showed up literally on my terms. The deal was not on my terms with my cash.
How did it actually show up? Just because now all I think is like I imagine someone knocking your door and going like, "Hey."
A friend showed me, look at this property, and then the listing agent is a guy that I know that I
Oh,
was
okay,
like
that
just
is
about
kinda
to do
crazy.
business.
That is kind of crazy.
So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, his name is Blake, great realtor in Queen Creek. Shout out to him.
Shout
So
out, Blake.
I hit him up and I say, hey, Blake, what's up with that property? He's like, what's up? What about the property? I'm like, well, I like it. My wife will love it. He's like, okay, you want it? And I was like, yeah, I just have two problems. I don't have any money and I don't have any credit. And then
Small problems.
yeah, and I thought he was gonna be like, oh, bro, just stop wasting my time.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, well, I'll get back to you. 15 minutes later, he's like, do you have any money to put down? And I was like, dude, I told you I don't have money and I don't have credit. And I've been following this very popular guy, which is actually one of our customers, Pace Morby. That's all the creative finance.
What is it? What is it?
Pace, Pace, Morby, Morby. He's like a big name in real estate investing. And he preaches a principle called creative financing, essentially not using your credit and not using your cash to acquire assets. So me,
What do you use? Okay, teach us for the
well,
ones
I don't know that I'm the right person. Go listen to Pace Morby, but
There you go.
I just threw it out there. I'm like, this sounds like a fancy word. So I said, hey, but ask the sellers if they will seller finance it to me.
There you go.
9 minutes later, I get a call. Done. So I didn't have to use a bank. They are my bank. I'm making payments to them. I didn't have to put any. Well, we had to put a little bit of money down just to make sure they know that I'm serious about it. But then we moved into this in my terms, on my budget, my timing, the property. We like. Just
And when did you
everything.
get that?
November. We closed on November 19th.
Nice. Is this last year?
Yeah, we've been in our house. We still
Well,
have boxes in the living room.
Because there's a lot of people saying like, "Oh, that's not a good year for real estate." It's
Well,
it's
and
just
it's crazy.
it's a bad year for non-creative people.
Yeah. But then I learned, this is another thing that I was just, there's some days when I start laughing. I'm like, dude, how did I get so lucky?
Blessed.
And I do have, you can call it blessing. You can call it luck. Everybody calls it whatever they want. I try to be humble and I like to call myself lucky. But I did something that most people won't do. And I asked. And I was willing to get punched in the face and laughed by my realtor friend to say, dude, are you crazy? But I called him and I was like, dude, so what about it? And it worked out. And it just seems like things work out that way.
No, I think you're right on. A quote that my grandfather has told me for my entire life is successful people initiate. And so like you initiate by asking. It's just inevitable. Like every time an opportunity has ever like been really fruitful for me, I've initiated it in some way, somehow. There's going to be kind of a random question, but relevant to this topic. So we've talked to a lot of guests on the show, and here recently, especially since we've been in the studio, almost all of them have talked about like, man, it's crazy how these opportunities come up, but I knew it was going to happen. I visualized it. Thoughts on visualization, because we just went on the streak of like these people like.
There is this, it's funny because there's things that I'm a huge believer of, in terms like visualizing, but I'm also very practical and very pragmatic on the reality of things, right? So there is, and I forget the scientific name, but there is this psychological phenomenon, right? So I'll give you an example. When I was looking for my first truck for my pest control business, I was looking for a used Chevy truck. That's all I wanted. Your
Reticulator Activation System, your RAS system is what you're talking about.
Correct. So I show up there, and in the showroom of the dealership, I looked on Carfax, whatever. I used truck that look all right. So I drive up to Phoenix, and it's at a Chevy dealership in their used cars lot. So I go look at it, and I'm like, it's exactly what I thought it was. Rundown truck at a really good deal. And I look at the showroom, and they had this beautiful white Trail Boss Chevy truck. Never seen one of those before. He looked sexy. He looked like a Panda. Had black wheels, black grill, and then white. I was like, that thing is a Panda right there. I need that truck. So I told the guy, I've never seen one of these. He's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, they're kind of new. but they're nice trucks. He's like, and I could get you a good deal if you want to buy a brand new one. Oh, I don't know. I'll come back to you later, right? I drive on my way home. I saw probably 50 trail bosses, right? So once I understood it, once I knew what it was, all of a sudden they were everywhere, right? I think the same thing happens with business and opportunities. Once you understand what an opportunity looks like, it's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And once you understand what to do with opportunity, and you also prepare yourself to take on an opportunity. I think when I first started our cleaning business, I didn't understand opportunity. I couldn't see it. I couldn't understand it. But then as, life taught me a few lessons, hard-learned lessons. Now all of a sudden the pest control opportunity was just so clear. And then the opportunity for garages is so clear. And the opportunity for this becomes so clear. And now my wife, she's like, dude, I can't keep up with you because every person you talk to, you want to do business with them. And you say that you guys could do great for each other. And I was talking to my bookkeeper last week, Scott, just a great guy. He does an amazing job for us. And as we're leaving, he's like, yeah, dude, this year I really want to step it up and bring more customers to my portfolio.
You're like,
And then he's like, but just like sales and marketing, that's not my thing. And just like my mind started racing. And I was like, Scott, we need to partner up, dude. We need to open an accounting firm. You and I will do all the marketing. You do all the accounting, and just in 10 seconds that I had this like business plan drafted in my brain. And I think now I'm able to see what opportunity looks like. And I understand that opportunity, you got to jump on it. It's like a train. The opportunity comes, but then opportunity goes. It doesn't sit very long waiting for you.
Strike when the iron's hot. Strike when it's hot.
Now,
That's when
with
you can
that,
hold it. But you
I've
gotta discern between the right opportunity and
Correct.
and distraction.
And it's also a numbers game, just like everything in life. I can sit here and tell you about all the great opportunities we've taken, and I'll probably choose to be a little bit more quiet about all the failed opportunities that we've taken at Zebra. We saw some opportunities. Arizona is full with solar panels. Everybody has solar here.
You attempted to clean them?
Yeah, so then I saw
Yeah,
this
heard of
guy,
those.
one guy that said, if you don't clean your solar panels, you lose like 30 to whatever % of effectiveness. And I was like, are you kidding me? Dude? There's like 1 million of those out here. If I can just pitch this to people, I'll go knock some doors. So I went and bought a van, and I bought the equipment, and I created a website, and I'm like, bro, let's go. Oh, dude, that thing never took off. It was so bad. We lost so much money. Horrible idea. And now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, who cares?
What did you call that one?
It was going to be under Zebra.
Oh, okay. I was like,
But we added a page, and because I
Yeah.
wanted, especially in East Valley, the east side of Phoenix, we're well known. A lot of people know who Zebra is. So it'll be stupid for me to try to build a new name when everybody knows this name, right? So I started tacking everything onto Zebra. But yeah, that thing was a flop. It was so bad. Like, it just did not work out. And I thought it was a great opportunity, but it wasn't. But I also, it's good practice. It's good practice to fail every now and then.
Oh, totally. I think that's how you actually learn the
Good
most.
practice to fail here and then. That makes sense. 100%.
Well,
It's
you
not
got-
fun, but it's
But you gotta fail, yeah.
it keeps you sharp.
Well, listen, we're gonna do something real quick. We're gonna take a quick break. That's hard, bro. I'm trying to, but
Recently, I've been just pounding caffeine because we don't sleep. Dude. My baby boy is just like,
Yeah, no
it's a
doubt.
party at night with that guy. So
with that guy.
yeah, no, he's been just freaking working us. My poor wife, dude, she's like sleep deprived.
It's tough at that age, and then trying to function off of no sleep. And it's not like just no sleep; it's like no
Stress,
sleep,
high
and
intensity.
and you don't know if it's going to be chaos.
Yeah, and it's been a good time.
But you were telling us, what were you telling us before we got started? So you were, we're talking about milk and protein shakes.
Yeah.
Just so that people don't know and they're gonna be like, what
The heck?
What the
But
hell are you telling me?
I just kind of lost my train of thought, but.
You said the cool thing about America.
But this is one thing I love
Fascinating.
about America, right? Being an immigrant, I love this. Just the many ways you can make money here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In Mexico, there's a lot of opportunity, but it's very monopolized.
Mm.
Like, if you want to open a restaurant, the competition will crush you and will never let you open a good restaurant, period. That's the reality of it, right? Unless you're coming with a ton of money, with a lot of influence. But an average Joe like me can show up and say, hey, dude, I make amazing tacos. Dude. Let me just start a taco stand that is going to crush it in town.
Yeah,
Dude, all the taco guys are going to get together and crush you and say, no, right? But in America, dude, it seems like you can make money with just about anything. So in my door-to-door days, I was knocking doors in Austin, Texas. Beautiful city. I love the city of Austin, Texas. And there is a place called Stainer Ranch, which is, what would you say? That's the west side of Austin. That's where all the wealthy people live. But at the very end, it's almost like the Colorado River comes around and it forms this little pocket. And at the end of that pocket is the nicest homes because their backyard have the Colorado River. So everybody's got a boat in the back. And it's just beautiful homes. And I'm a sucker for beautiful homes. So I used to go knock on these $1 million homes. And besides selling them pest control and making commission out of great contracts, I love picking their brains. What do you do for a living? And I met, you name it, just from country singers to big tech guys to this guy that I met. And I show up and it's this beautiful modern looking home right next to the river. He's got like 2 boats in the back and jet skis. And it was like an acre, just beautiful home. Every car you can think of was in the garage. So I knocked the guy, super nice guy. He was like 20-something, 25, 26 years old. And I get talking to the guy. He buys my service. He's like, dude, good for you, dude. Keep working hard. So I pick his brain, and I'm like, hey, dude, what do you do for work? And he says, oh, I sell bird food. And my English still was pretty broken back then.
You're like, what?
What do you mean? He's like, yeah, if you have a pet bird and you have to feed the pet bird, you have to give it bird food. And I was like, what do you mean? Like sunflower seeds? And he's like, oh. And he's like, yeah, exactly that. And I was like, no, you don't. And you looked around and it was, I don't know, dude. Back then I couldn't understand money, dude. So it was probably a lot of money. I don't know, $5 million home. I don't know, a lot. And the guy's like, yeah, I do. I sell bird food. I was like, you gotta be kidding me, bro. The guy was like 26 years old. And he's like, yeah, dude. He said, but I've been wanting to like grow my business, see if I can go international because I only have 2 clients right now.
2 clients.
And I was like, what the heck, freaking, what bird is buying all this food? So yeah, I only have 2 clients. I have a 15-year contract with Walmart, and then I have a 12-year contract with Petco. And I was just like, bro, like bird food, seeds. And I was just blown away that, bro, that guy was living, I don't know, from what I can see, right? He was living the dream, selling bird food. I was like, wow.
Well, I think there's a different perspective that people like both you guys come with. We were talking about before we hit record how we had a guy, Fernando Cruz, on here talking about the immigrant mentality. And I do think like people from other countries that come here see opportunity differently. And then I think they act and execute differently. I think it's just, it is what it is. When you look at all small business owners across the United States, like majority of them, whether it's a gas station, whether it's a service home-based business, it's majority immigrant ran. And I think there's something to it.
I literally just heard on a podcast a couple days ago that there's 2 people that moving forward, especially how technology is evolving and how the world is working right now, that there is only going to be 2 types of people that will be wealthy and successful moving forward. And those are entrepreneurial mindset and immigrants. And the guy said, because that's the same mindset. And which are the risk takers, which are the ones that are optimistic, which are the guys that are not scared to put in the work. And, you know, I was telling you, when I grew up in Mexico, I never went without. My parents were awesome at providing. We had a great life. But it was not a life of luxury. So when I came to the U.S., there's a family that actually hosted me the first few months that I was here. Very, very, very wealthy family. And that's the first time my mindset shifted just a little bit. That went from wanting to go to school, get a job, and then kind of keep my mouth shut so that I don't lose my good job, to like, dude, I want more. And this guy, I remember in Chihuahua, there's only 1 golf course. You can only go golf in 1 place, at least in Chihuahua. I think Juarez, there's also one or 2, right? So that's not something. Here in Phoenix, we have a golf course on every corner. But I remember the first time I set foot in a golf course. And I'm just like freaking like loving it. Because no, I'm a bad golfer. But I like being out there. But I remember the first time this guy took me out, and he was just like about to hit the ball, and he's like, yeah, dude, like I'm stressing out because the business is not doing good. Like this year we're only gonna do 17 million. And I was just like, well, what? Like that's a lot. He's like, yeah, dude, because I was hoping to get a new home this year, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it until like probably like halfway next year. So it's like it's kind of setting me back 6 months. And I'm just not understanding what this guy is saying. And his name is Ben. And I said, Ben, why are you wanting more if you have a beautiful house, if you're making $17 million? And he taught me a lesson. He said, Ishmael, when given the option and the opportunity to make or to do more, you always do. He said, and that
That's a good
goes for
lesson.
money, that goes for work, that goes for charity, that goes for whatever that is. When given the opportunity to do more, you always do more, regardless of what you have. Like always, and I learned that if I have the opportunity to do more, I'll just do more, rather than doing less, and that helped shift how I think. And that guy's an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and me as an immigrant.
What did he do?
Construction.
Construction.
He had a very large company that did stucco. But they were like just back when the real estate was booming here in Phoenix, like he was doing every other home stucco. So yeah, big company.
I think exposure matters a lot. So like when I was in El Paso, I didn't get exposed to all these normal people that had a lot of money. And so I think I was just like, when I was in Juarez and El Paso, it was just more like work hard, right? Like when you're 16, you get to work here in the U.S. and I was just working. And then I decided one day, I was in my corporate job and I decided to fly out to a mastermind because a guy randomly messaged me. He's like, hey bro, I put this event in San Diego. Are you where you want to be? And I was like, I was actually going through I was like, no, not really. And I was getting like that itch for entrepreneur, but I didn't know what it was. And then he's like, you should fly out to San Diego. And I was like, I don't have any money. He's like, well, do you think you're going to, like, I was like, I only have a credit card. I only have like $3,000 on it, and I had just paid it off. I was like so happy, right? And then he's like, do you think you're going to make more money if you just come to the event? Or do you think having your credit card at zero would be more helpful? Like, it was a great question. And I was like, well, damn. So I bought a flight, a ticket, and then I upgraded in the flight. I got excited. So I upgraded and I went to San Diego. And I was like, they're like, oh, so what do you do? And I'm like, dude, I just work at a call center. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. And I'm in the middle, like in San Diego, with all these entrepreneurs, all whites, blacks, Mexicans, Hispanic, all types, right? And they were all just so happy. And like, not in a fake way, if that makes sense. So it was like a Christian type of event. And I was like, man, so there's more. And San Diego's beautiful. I mean, cars pulled up, the ocean, the people talking. We worked out with a Navy SEAL. And since exposure, I started changing the way I was thinking. But then you go back home and you explain it to your parents, and everyone's like, what? So what job, right? My dad's a doctor. My mom's a nurse, so they get it. My dad gets it a little bit more. But because of what he's been through to try to get his clinic on going, he's like, I would rather people get a job because it's just so hard, right? Anyways, long story short, that's why I got into entrepreneurship, just because of exposure. Mm-hmm. And now I love exposure. Like, I was just in Hawaii with a bunch of entrepreneurs, and like it makes you want more, but in a good way, not in a selfish or
more
in
like a wholesome way.
Exactly. Like. Let's travel the world. Let's get some goats and let's get some chickens, right? Let's try a new business. Why not? Let's impact more people. Let's raise up. Like, now hearing you, I'm like, do you guys do franchising? Do you guys do franchising for Zebra?
We don't.
Have you thought about it?
I have.
Yeah.
I think I get a little overwhelmed by the thought of it. It's just something I don't know. I don't understand. I haven't researched.
Or have you coached others? Like, maybe where they don't use your brand, but you're like, I can help you set up your infrastructure.
I am so happy to. I try to keep myself very humble, because back in the day when humility was not something that I tried. Not that I focus or that I preach, but I was the complete opposite. I wanted to be like the big dog, and I pump my chest and like, I am doing all of this. Things did not turn out really well in my life. The business was going great, but the life was not good. So I try to keep myself in check with this, but I don't know if I call myself a coach, but I've learned a few lessons here and there in the last few years that I'm happy to share with just about anybody. Nice. Anybody can call me, and I'll walk you through it. I'll talk to you about it. And if it helps, good. And if not, then don't hold me to it. But
you're like, I know, right? Yeah, listen, if you get broke, that's not on me.
Yeah.
No, but I think, so first, if you're listening to this and you feel like you need a little bit of support, maybe if you want to explore the pest control area and just have a question or two, feel free to reach out to him. I want to have a conversation about that because the branding is on point. I appreciate good branding.
Kind of funny that we started the show. You asked a really cool question. I didn't even connect it. Like, why does every one of your brands have an animal? And then you're like, oh, wait, it's a black and white animal. And then he takes off his jacket. And it's black and white companies.
What's the big vision?
So the big vision is all attached to the database, right? So my goal, if you say, okay, well, let's say the world revolves around you and you can have it your way. I would love to have anywhere, like most of the basic services for a home.
Plumbing, electricity,
Plumbing,
painting,
electric, painting not
or
so
not as-
much, but the needed services, right? So plumbing, electric, HVAC, pest control, and maybe cleaning. The more I dive into this, the more I understand that cleaning is not as necessary. It's great to have it, and it's a great avenue, but I have it there. And what I'd love to have is this very comprehensive collective database. So every time a customer calls my pest control company, it automatically generates 5 leads for my other 5 businesses.
Yeah, generates a lead
Right,
for
so it
every
lowers
company,
the
yeah.
acquisition cost. It builds the trust because if you're using one service, they say that a customer, you make more money with a customer using 2 of your services than having 2 customers use 1 of your services, right? And then your margins are better, the retention is better, all around it's a better gig. So I would love to have this comprehensive pool to where I can go to the drawing board and sit up at a conference table and say, okay, leveraging this database that we have, what services can we offer? What can we do, right? And then eventually, if I get to save a few dollars, I'd like to start acquiring companies. Like I just met this guy that does turf, and I thought it was a genius business. Arizona, we have very little water, so a lot of homes like to put turf, and he struggles to get customers. So if I have a comprehensive list of 15,000, homes, I can send a mass text message, and I can pick up, a dozen customers with very large contracts. He makes great money.
And you don't have to acquire them completely, right? It could be like a partnership, basically. And
Correct.
because
So-
you already have the database,
essentially
you don't
that's-
even have to put cash. You'll be like, listen, I have...
When remember my business, what I'm good at, where I'm competent, and what makes me happy is marketing. So if I can be the marketing arm of any company, I would love to be part of it. If tomorrow somebody in Phoenix calls me, hey, dude, I'm a plumber, I'm struggling with marketing, let's partner up. And I can take, I don't know, a 25% to double their business. It's a great deal for them. It's a great deal for me because I don't have to do plumbing, but I can continue to do what I love so much, which is branding, marketing, advertising, sales. I would love to do that.
And you can just... Because you could technically just knock doors. You don't even need, like... That's what makes you... That's such a deadly skill set to have in a good way.
Oh, and sometimes joking with my friends, I tell them, dude, I am the most dangerous guy out of all of us because I'm not scared to put in the work and I know how to knock doors. So when it comes to when we're off to the races, like I'll beat them all.
Does your pest control company right now currently have a door knocking team, or is it just you?
We are right now. We don't have a door knocking team. We're working with a really good team that we might bring in this year. And if things go as we're planning and as the conversations are going, it's going to skyrocket us to the next level because it will get a high volume. I mean, we're looking at, if things go as planned, about 3,000 new customers in the next 6 months.
When you say bring in a team, like, do you have to
door
like,
knockers, no?
like, do you have to like hire that team, or okay? I would like.
It's expensive.
But it sounds like
very
it's an
expensive.
existing company with
Correct.
an existing
So that's what they
team
do. That's
that
their business.
wants- okay.
They already have a team of killers, and they know pest control. They know door-to-door sales, and we can bring them in, and they just hit the ground running. When you try to build a team like this, it's difficult when you don't have
Yeah.
people with experience,
A lot of
and
time.
when you're not in a small budget like me. When I don't have the luxury of a ton of cash to be ditching out, it's really hard. So there's a ton of risk, and it's at a really high cost. Because people don't realize that along with your sales, there's the operational cost. So the more sales reps you get, the more accounts you'll get, which is awesome, right? But then also the more trucks you'll need, the more licenses, the more liability, the more insurance, the more car accidents you will have, the more of everything you'll get to now have to juggle.
And do you set up like lines of credit and revolving credit for your businesses
have,
and,
yeah.
and build relationships with like your banks?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
good.
have clients all
I'm surprised that not a lot of people do that. Trips me out. Not a lot of
Yeah, and-
businesses do
and
it.
it
Or
goes-
like don't build that banking relationship. They don't see it as valuable.
I think once again, I'm trying to be mindful of the audience, right? Because I've been sitting on the other side of the microphone, and most of the people in the cleaning space are not business people; they're cleaners. So if first they have to just jump to the other side and say, okay, well, let's kind of take it easy on the cleaning. Like cleaning will be taken care of by itself. Let's focus on every facet of the business: the finance side, the marketing, the operations, the logistics, the insurance, the legal. I'm like blown away by companies that don't even have an employment agreement for their employees.
Yeah.
Companies that don't have any waivers, liability waivers. When a customer says, hey, can you do this? And you say, well, we don't provide that service. Well, can you do it? I'll pay you some money. And they don't have somebody sign a waiver. They don't have those documents. And you're always one lawsuit away from just losing your business. So I think it's a lot of cleaners turn into business owners.
Yeah.
Know nothing about owning a business. They're learning it, just like I have. But I do consider myself lucky that I went to business school.
Yeah.
Which, not that it helped me a whole lot, but it gave me a good sense of it. And then I've been around very large businesses where we never talked about the service itself. We talked about the business. The big, large pest control company I work with, we never talked about killing bugs. Never. And that was our business.
I find it. So I want to talk about a few things here. Obviously, we've talked about a lot, and I'm so glad we're not gonna split this into 2 separate episodes because I think they're all just kind of weaved in there, and it's gonna be good. So you know our boy from Pipe Hire, Juan Chaparro. I believe you were interviewed by him in his podcast. Well, I don't know if you guys know each other. I don't know if you were just in his podcast.
Yes.
Okay.
I think like a year ago or something. I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, so
Nice guy.
to prepare for interviews, I just watch interviews. I think that's the best way to do it instead of having to like try to make it up. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that. So you attempted, because I've always had this itch. You attempted to have a team in Mexico to help run operations, and it didn't work out.
So bad.
So bad.
Yes.
Walk us through that, because there's a lot of people right now looking to go into virtual team building, right? VAs, things like that, into their companies. It sounds like you tried to go full and everything in Mexico, like almost like all at once, if I'm not mistaken, from the interview. What happened there? I would love to talk about the pros, the cons, because we're in that industry.
Yeah.
We're in that industry, and we love it, and it works. But you can't. The ideas that people have sometimes of thinking of virtual, like they think a virtual team is gonna save their business. It doesn't work that way.
Never.
And I think
The
I don't
other
know what
way around.
Okay.
So I feel like it's depending on what your goals are, your objectives in the business are. They can be a tool to accomplish that objective.
100%.
So, we'll talk about Zebra, right? I think the summary for this thing is like you get what you pay for. So you're paying cheap labor, you get cheap results. I don't care what they tell you, anybody of these companies, they don't speak very good English. I don't care what anybody says, they do not speak good English. And I've listened to all of our reps and probably hundreds of calls, and it's a bunch of broken English, and everybody can tell. Which I have broken English, so I'm kind of like a rhetorical that I'm saying that, right? But the consumer can tell that it's a person that is not very qualified to be speaking. Number one. Number two, they don't understand your business because they haven't done it, right? So they will always naturally, the natural person in them, they will levitate towards the easiest solution. So I saw my cancellations were going through the roof. Crediting people, refunding money was just through the roof because they didn't care, right? They haven't done the job. And all of that, you can deal with all of that if you have the counter to it, which will be, okay, we're in a business where we're about volume. So I don't care that my customer service is maybe subpar, but our marketing and our sales team are going just full force. So we're bringing in 3 times the customers and we're losing at 10%. Sure.
Yeah, you can afford that.
But you can't do addition by subtraction, which is what I was doing. I was adding accounts and we had this broken arm that was bleeding and I was just pumping more blood into it.
Yep.
So it was just...
Yep.
So that's a tough lesson I learned.
Totally.
I also learned...
you had everyone, right? You had sales, ops, or scheduling, routes.
It was just so bad. Our scheduling has never been worse. Our customer service has never been worse.
Y'all didn't have like a trainer or something?
We did.
Oh, you did?
Now,
Like internally or for them?
Well, here's another thing that I learned. We hired this guy. I went really hard at this guy that used to work at the company that I work with. So I'm like, bro, this guy's a freaking savage. He's a ninja. He knows what he's doing. He's run a 50, 60, $70 million business. This will be a piece of cake. And I learned that those guys are actually the worst people you can have in your small organization because they can perform well in a well-structured system.
Yeah.
If you tell them, hey, dude, go figure it out, they freeze. They know nothing about how to set things up, right? So it's like if you grab it's like comparing a McDonald's line worker to a chef. A chef has to create a menu. These guys like to grab the bun, put the patty, 2 pickles, wrap it in tape, off he goes, right?
Yeah, technically it's both food.
Yeah, and then if you look at the scores, you can say, bro, this kid right here, this 17-year-old kid can crank out like 200 burgers per hour, and the chef can only do 2. Very different things. So, and I think when it comes to customer service, it's the same thing. You can have this guy that the numbers, sure, that when he was under this very large organization, he was pumping out 50,000 calls per month, but the guy can't set up a system. He can't train people properly. All in all, dude, we lost so
'cause
much
you went
money.
in there-
It was so bad.
You went
It
in there
was so bad.
trusting somebody that seemed like they had the experience, and then you gave them,
Resumes are the biggest just flop ever.
Totally.
yeah.
Ever. Dude.
I would agree with that.
Ever. Dude, the best person I've had working in my businesses, it's the guy that on paper is the less qualified. But the guy is just willing to put in the work. He doesn't quit. He finds a solution. I call him, he's like a Roomba vacuum, right? He hits a wall and then he moves and then goes finds another. So he finds solutions. The guy is
Roomba
freaking
vacuum?
That should be like an
sharp.
employee award.
Yeah, a Roomba vacuum.
The Roomba award.
And in a small business, you need that because you're coming up with new problems that you've never seen before. So
Yeah.
you don't have a system and procedure for an angry customer that we just messed up their black countertops that they imported from Turkey. Like, bro, what the heck? I don't know. Well, let's figure it out. Like, go talk to them, and let's see how we can do it so we don't pay money and we get ourselves out of this situation. And this guy was just ditching my money out because it was my money, not his. A customer will call to cancel, and the easiest thing is to say, okay, thank you, and then cancel the account rather than try to retain it. Oh, it was a freaking service.
So
That sounds terrible.
do you have anyone working virtually right now?
No.
So based
Well,
on
so our two customer service people for both Panda and Zebra work from home, but I see them every week.
sure.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
not. They're
Yes
not
and
in
no.
Mexico. And then
Yes and no.
I have a question. So, like, when they went to Mexico, did this guy have a call center or something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So, okay, that makes sense. So you just.
But it's just, I think the short answer to this whole conversation is you get what you pay for. When they
I'm
advertised it
assuming
as
they-
like, oh, it's $10 an hour or blah, 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 that's the $10 an hour job, the result that you're going to get, period. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. If the solution was that much better, they wouldn't charge $10 an hour.
That's fair.
It'll be very disrespectful to assume that Mexican entrepreneurs and business owners are stupid not to think that if they have an amazing solution, they wouldn't charge more. They have come to terms to say that we have decently trained guys that are willing to do whatever we ask them to do. So yeah, then we charge a good deal. Well, that's their business. But you will never get an A player coming from outsourcing it. The premise of outsourcing that is cheap. So cheap equals cheap, which turns into cheap, and at the end of the equation, it's always expensive. So
Talk to me about, you had mentioned earlier on in the show that you have a lot of good managers in place, which is kind of what has allowed you to manage so much, right? One, how do you find like the people that have helped you run your businesses? And how do you recruit them? Talk to me just about like, how have you been able to develop your teams?
for cleaning, we're always looking for cleaners. We rarely advertise, hey, we're looking for a vice president for the Eastern Division. Of like, we're looking for cleaners. And then from within cleaners, every now and then, not very often, but every now and then, we have this person applying to be a cleaner that clearly does not belong in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And then very quickly, they prove to us that they're overqualified to be cleaning. And whether they're going through a hardship, because I think everybody would agree with me, being a home cleaner or a commercial cleaner is nobody's dream job. Nobody. It's always a stepping stone. And we've always acknowledged that. We understand that people will be with us for a period of time and eventually they have to graduate to bigger, better things. And I'm okay with it and I encourage that. Every time my team leaves, we're happy. We celebrate that they're leaving us. It's time to move on to something else. But every now and then we get these amazing team members, just unbelievably good. Whether they're very responsible, they take pride in the work they do, whether they're great communicators, whether they're something. And what we do is I always offer it to them, hey, if you keep going the way you're going, like at some point you're going to outgrow your position. So the only way I can keep you around is if I give you an extra responsibility, whether to be a trainer, a supervisor, a salesperson, help us with routing, scheduling, and that's how we found all of our managers.
So I hire from within.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we've never hired a manager from outside. In cleaning, it's really hard to do that. Cleaning is very, every organization runs very differently.
If you had to start from zero, what business would you start? So you had to start
something
from
in sales.
something in sales.
Something in sales, yeah.
Yeah, because that's just for you. That's just the fastest way to scale.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go and look for.
I thought with confidence you were going to say pest control.
But the thing is,
I don't think it's best.
it all depends, right?
Yeah.
If you tell me that you have zero money, you can't start a pest control service with zero money. You can't. But I can walk into, like my wife laughs at this. Every time we go to a nice restaurant, I lean over. When she listens to this, she's going to laugh. Every time we're at a restaurant, I lean over to my wife and I said, if I was a server in this restaurant, I'll freaking kill it. I'll be the best server this restaurant is ever freaking seen. And then after that, of course, it's a no-brainer. The owners will come and say, dude, we're going to make you the restaurant owner, the restaurant manager. And from there, they will make me the divisional. And then all of a sudden, that will be the most powerful restaurant chain in the planet. And she laughs. She's like, just stop bugging me. But I think I will do that somewhere where I can make money just by talking and by being willing to take rejection. So,
Where do you get that belief from?
because it's the truth. Like, I've done it so many times.
Yeah.
Dude, I've gotten so many doors slammed in my face. From when I was a little kid, that they didn't pick me to play sports with them. From when I was in puberty and I started to like girls and I would go and ask them out and they would reject me. Like, dude, rejection is just another day for me. Yeah. I like hospitality. I like connecting with people. So I think I've always had an eye for like restaurants, for anything hospitality. I think I'll do really well because I like it and I can talk to people.
Have you looked into acquiring one?
No, because everybody that I know that owns one of them tells me to run away from them.
Yeah.
So, I like that. That's like my hidden fantasy that one day I'll have like a really nice restaurant. But if I had nothing, I would go probably the first thing I would do is go sell cars during the day, or sell something during the day, and then serve at night. And I think very quickly I'll start making money, and then I'll move to something else that I can sell.
And then you'd be like, hey, when I'm serving these people, I'd be dropping them off a business card for their cleaning.
But think about it.
No, I really appreciate like
That makes sense.
your creative ways to always like hustle and reach more people. And then like how you were selective, like going back to the Trader Joe's conversation when you were targeting the Lexuses and the Range Rovers and all of that. And I think, and then you said something really important, like my ego was never big enough to like get in the way in that moment. And I think a lot of people, it's like, don't overcomplicate the game.
Ego is not your amigo. That's
Yeah.
what they say. That's what they say. It's a thing.
Ego is
Never
not
heard
your
it?
amigo. I've never heard
Ego's
that.
not your amigo.
And if you think about it,
I'm making a shirt that says that.
ego is just such a destructive thing. Like, for instance, in the world of pest control, when you become a pest control owner or an operator that you have a pretty well-established business, the business owner will never be out there servicing a house. Never. You don't put on boots and you don't spray pesticide. That's just not something you don't do. So, pest control business owners, and I have a circle of friends, probably 12 of them, that we have about same size business, some a little bit smaller, some a little bit bigger. And we know that we all have to do that every now and then. That we're short one person, we have too many services on a day that we just have to put on some boots and go spray some pesticide around a house. And most of us, we stay pretty quiet on that day. We don't want anybody to know that we're doing the dirty work today because the business is not big enough to have more technicians that day. But I've chosen that every day when I'm servicing, I'm going to hit up all of my pest control friends and let them know that I'm out servicing. And it allows me to just take so much pride. Dude, pest control is what I do. I need to be so happy to be spraying homes. I need to be grateful that a person chose to pay me today for the service. I have a job, and I love it. I don't do it very often, but when I do it, I love it. I go out there, and I have messages that I text my wife. Gosh, I make a freaking hell of a technician, dude. I am so good at this. And I like to just do it. There's nothing to it. It's you're just doing your job. But I'm like, I just need to be grateful for it, and I need to just make the most out of it.
Yeah, but there's something to that. So every now and then, like, I have to like pick up the phone and cold call with like our team, like my direct people, and I get in that same kind of mindset. I'm like, you know what? Like, I'll be next to like one of our reps, and I'll be like, let's have some fucking fun.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what the next call brings, right? And like, you kind of get back to that day one mentality of like, let's not dread this. Let's not be too good for it. And then next thing you know, like, you're kind of in it. You're vibing for that day. And I think it gives you a sense of that appreciation. When I hear you talk, I hear a lot of gratitude. A lot of gratitude about the journey. And
it's fun. I'm telling you, that's what builds the most fun memories. Oh, it's just, I've never had great memories of me sitting behind the desk and pointing fingers and telling them what to do. I've had to do it a couple times. I hate it. It just, and for some people, I'm nothing against it. There's people that's their job description and that's fulfilling to them. But for me, it's been right up the street from here. Red Bull built their first plant outside of, what are they, from Austria? So they built this massive plant. It's like 2 million square feet, just giant. So one day I get this random call. And a guy says, hey, we are about to finish a project here and we need to clean a 3,000 square foot space. So we're going to need, and then the guy says, we need about 16 cleaners. Do you have 16 cleaners available? And I was like, dude, for 3,000 square feet, like me and another guy can do it. And we were packed. We had so much work that week that I was like, dude, we got it, dude. He's like, no, you're going to need like 16 people. And I was like, no, I think you don't know what you're talking about, bro. I know what I'm talking about, 3,000 square feet, in my sleep, no problem. So they send us all these documents. It was intense, dude. I've never seen so much paperwork to freaking clean a place. So.
And this was like a post-construction or something?
Correct.
Okay.
So, and it was Red Bull. It's like, okay. So I show up in this massive facility. It's huge, dude. Like, instead of trucks, like, they get the product out in trains. It's got train tracks in the middle. Like, it's pretty cool.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
And it's crazy. Yeah, it's right up the street from here. And in Waddell. So I show up, and it's a 3,000 square foot room that it's a water filter. It's a water filtration system. So all the water that they put into a Red Bull has to go through there. And it's this complex, just tangly bunch of pipes that was like 30 feet tall. And I was like, oh, shit. Dude, and it was me and another dude. We showed up like after eating an In-N-Out, like, oh, no big deal. We'll get it done in a little bit. And I was like, oh, crap. Like, this is going to be a big, big job. So we started calling all the cleaners. They were all with their families. And we called them, hey, would you just take 6 hours tonight? And we'll pay you double the money. So we got a bunch of...
Were they going to pay you by hour or what?
No, and then me, dude, I'm just so bad.
¿Cómo le hicieron?
But I just gave him, of course I lost money on that job, dude. I was like, oh, we'll charge you like $1,200. We were there for 4 days with 16 people, dude. And
he's like, I told you.
Yeah, and the guy was like, oh, I like your pricing. Awesome. You beat everybody other quote that we got.
By a lot.
So, and now we look back, and my guy Guillermo, we always look back at that day, and I'm like, what the heck were we thinking, dude? Like, and that was just such a fun day. We look back now, and I'm like, dude, we lost a ton of money. And we learned a lesson, like, dude, you got to ask more questions. You got to go look at a place. If the guy's telling me 3,000 square feet with 16 cleaners, there's got to be some reasoning behind it.
We should trust him.
And maybe I don't know better than the guy. Maybe I should just like, you know what? Let me just make a quick trip, take a look, and then we'll see.
Maybe I don't know better. I don't know.
Oh, dude, it was just,
That's
and I remember
hilarious.
3 days into it, in the middle of the night, we're still like scrubbing. And my wife is like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, dude, every minute looks like an hour. This thing is just so miserable. But, you know.
And they're like, and we'll pay your $1,200 on a net 30.
Yeah.
And you're like, damn it.
We'll pay you later, yeah. So I like doing the work. I think it's humbling, and those are just the most fun memories I have from the business. When things were going nice, like, it just doesn't build memories. When things are running smooth, which most of the time that's how they run, I love when crap hits the fan. Because in the moment, it just hits you right in the stomach. But then when you figure it out, a year later, you look back and you say, ooh, yeah, remember that?
What would you say have been your biggest lessons these last year? Top 3 lessons or top 2? Because there was a lot of shift in your life last year in a good way.
I think the first one was to slow down. Just slow down just a little bit. The second one is not to trust myself that much. I used to
that's interesting.
Over-trust myself. I thought I was...
Blind trust almost? Like
and
trusting too much in your skills or como?
And I think it's good that I have a degree of confidence in myself, but then I think I need to have a healthy amount of questioning myself too. Which, thank goodness, I think my ability to be overconfident has gotten me further away than me questioning myself. But I think I need to start incorporating some of it. And, you know, that's a perfect example. A guy's asking me for a certain type of service, and then I'm telling him, no, I know better than you. And then I show up and I'm like, oh, crap, he was right. I'm like, you could have just be a little more humble and ask more questions and maybe not trust yourself.
And probably slow down.
Yeah, and slow down, right?
I think that's also because of the size of the company that you scale too, right? Like I think that's one thing we learned from one of our mentors. He's like, hey, once you hit a certain threshold, you gotta
slow down.
think, you gotta process,
Yeah,
because then you go in there blindly, and then you're like, oh, and then you start paying for it later. It's a good learning lesson. It's a good mistake, but listen, if you can avoid it just by stopping,
We this still makes me sick, but we got in business with a property management company that they manage apartments, and they opened this beautiful community in Chandler, Arizona. Beautiful community.
oh Chandler,
Yes. And probably it's the hottest place to live in Chandler right now.
I know.
So I was like, dude, that would be nice to put it in our resume that we clean this place. And then I sold them. And then I started getting a little greedy. I'm like, okay, I'll do your cleaning if you also buy my pest control. No, which is one you're cleaning? Okay, I won't do the cleaning if you don't buy. Okay, we'll buy both. Awesome. So I go in, we start doing both services. And I did charge them just a little bit higher. Apartments pay really bad. It's just horrible work in the apartments.
Because you were doing turnovers or just common areas?
So we did their post construction, we did common areas, and then we did their turnovers. We did it all.
Nice.
Very inexperienced property manager, just everything. It's we didn't set the terms in place. I was going too fast, and I agreed to everything. So to this day, they owe us like $22,000 that they haven't paid us after like 8 months. And I called them, they're like, well, no, dude, you were never an approved vendor, and you shouldn't have been doing work before you were an approved vendor. And I was like, great lesson to be learned, to just slow down a little bit. It's fine. Dude. Nobody's gonna die if you don't do the clean today. You'll be just fine. It's cleaning. It's not, you're not an
surgery.
ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
some of our mentors told us like, hey, don't forget, the work that you do is not life-threatening.
Correct.
So don't take it as if it was. And I was like, huh.
So we learned that lesson. That we just picked up another even better property. And the first thing I told the girl, hey, well, let me share with you this ugly story. It's a horror story that happened to us. They owe us $20,000. I already paid the payroll of that. So I'm like upside down. I don't know, whatever the payroll on that is, right? And I told her, we're having these issues, this, and that. Before we start doing any work and any conversations, I want you to put on the table, what are the expectations? When are you going to pay me? I'm okay if you're going to take a year to pay me. I just want to know that I will get paid in a year. That's fine. But don't tell me you're going to pay me today and then never pay me. And like make sure I want to have a letter that says I'm an approved vendor and that you have no problem cutting me a check. So we've been like going back and forth for a couple of weeks, and it's been awesome because everything is so clear. Yeah, I had to learn. It cost me, it was a $20,000 lesson, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully we never make that mistake again. But yeah, it seems like every time that I'm going too fast, I start making pretty poor decisions. So that will be probably one lesson. Just slow down.
And don't question yourself. I think questioning yourself is good. I think it's hard to do. I think because when you question yourself, you start looking, your brain automatically starts looking for reasons on why you question yourself for answers. But you just got to make sure you ask the right questions, because why am I wrong is not probably the right question, right? Or why can't I trust myself?
I think for an entrepreneur, it's hard to question ourselves. Right? We think we know it, and we know the direction we're going. I think questioning ourselves should be just a step. It should be a process. Right? Like when you hire somebody, an entrepreneur has this criteria how they hire somebody. Well, they gotta have this, and I always ask these questions. I think by making decisions, it should be an added step on decision making. You know what? Okay, I feel good about this. Regardless, I'm gonna question myself and just take a minute to look at the other side. Am I looking at all possibilities? I don't think you should embrace it as a way of living, to question yourself and to doubt yourself. But I think it should be more like a step. Like, you know what? That's a rule that I have for myself.
Yeah, before I make a final decision, let's run it through the system.
Correct.
Yeah, I think I don't think you're right. I think questioning yourself sounds a little out there, because sometimes you just gotta be decisive. But I noticed, so one of my weaknesses is I move fast. Mm-hmm. He was saying like everyone I meet from Chihuahua, they just tend to move very fast and almost like we don't have time for anything. So I told him, I was like, dude, I'm very impulsive. If I start feeling something, I'm like, do it. And I can't wait till I complete it. This season of my life, I've learned to it's so funny you say that. I'm just like,
slow down.
Do I really need to do it? Do I want to do it? Does it have fruition at the end? Do I wait? Can I wait? Is it urgent? And it's allowed me to not make impulsive decisions. And then I end up completing or taking to completion the projects that I already had, or the conversations that were already had, without me putting so much on my plate and then you're like, oh, how did I get in this position? So I think I'm impulsive. So for me, learning how to discern certain questions and decisions has been very helpful. So what I know we're coming up to the time here, James. So do you have any questions, any final questions that we can ask our boy here? I know we can, based on his personality, we could probably stay here for like 7 hours.
I'm long-winded too. I talk too much.
No, man. I think
You
it's
talk
great.
just right, man. I've heard people that are long-winded that
Yeah.
make no point, and I do have to tell them like, yo, what?
And,
Yo, close
and
that
then
story,
don't keep
dog.
you engaged and
Yeah, exactly.
and don't have substance there. No, Ishmael, I just want to thank you, man. I
Well,
really
thank you,
relate
guys.
to your story. I think what you have going on is awesome, and I think your ability to pivot and adjust and understand like, hey, what worked just even a year ago won't work now, and then also your fearlessness to like try new things. I think it's awesome, and I'm gonna go back to what you started with, that there's wisdom and simplicity. So I just want to thank you, brother.
Thank you. This is great, though. I love, and I will thank you guys for giving cleaning business owners a voice. I think there's so much goodness that comes from cleaning. I've never done a more noble job than cleaning. Cleaning, I love cleaning. We powered America, and cleaners are just really, we make a difference, and we're not around. People can tell that we're not around. So I love that we're the silent yet present workforce for this country, and I love that people like you guys and your podcast give me and all other small, medium, and large business owners in the cleaning space a voice and also voice of encouragement. There may be people listening to that are on the fence about starting a business. Do it.
Yeah.
You will never regret it. You will never regret it. And do it now. Quit your job tomorrow, and then the day after, just start cleaning.
Just start door knocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, start door knocking.
Door knock. It's a tried and tested method.
By the way, but for those that, because we still have a couple of minutes, for those that are listening, how would you door knock for cleaning? Give us an example.
Dude,
Give us
it's so funny
if you
because people have seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, and they've seen these very persuasive pitches to where you're saying this, silver bullet of a pitch. I don't have a pitch. I've learned that the more I can be just straightforward and honest with people, so I will literally, my pitch when I first started, and it's evolved a little bit, right? But my pitch for home cleaning was like, hey, how's it going? I'm the owner of Zebra Cleaning. I just started my cleaning business, and I have no clients in your neighborhood. So I'm trying to pick up a couple clients to keep myself busy. Who does your home cleaning? And they're like, well, I have a lady. Okay, well, would you oppose to if I give you a good deal, just so that you try us out? There's no commitment. We'll come, we'll clean your house. If we do a great job, keep us around. If we do a crappy job, at least you only pay $50. Kick me out of here. Like, okay, kid, here, how about it? And that was it. When I was a trader,
There's your cold call script right there.
yeah. When I was at not door knocking, but cold calling people or approaching people outside of Trader Joe's, it was the same thing. Hey, COVID just freaking hit. I'm about to lose my business, so I'm just literally talking to people. See if you have a cleaner already. Give me a shot. Dude, I've never had an issue humbling myself and asking people, please give me a chance. And it works. Just give me a shot. And I always give him a way out. Hey, you're not committing. We're not getting married. If you like it, awesome. Keep me around. If you don't like me, just get me out of here. And some of our best customers came from that door knocking. We still service them. Some of our best customers, I met them in a parking lot. And every time I go once a year, I go and say hi to them. Mostly out of gratitude, just to go and say hi. But they're always like, I do remember you. I thought it was pretty crazy that you came up to me. And it's something so simple. It didn't cost me a whole lot of money. I didn't have to run an ad for that. I just had to go stand right there, have a big smile, and say, hey, give me a shot. Give your boy a shot. It's cleaning. You're not having to sign a mortgage. It's cleaning. If I happen to suck, you only pay $50, $100, $150. You gave me a try, and at least you're supporting a small little business. Oh, okay, sure. So that's always been my pitch.
Listen, I'm a big believer of that honesty, just straightforwardness. Hey, we always say, like, if you like me, great. If not, no worries. We'll part ways as friends. I got to know you, and that's it.
Is that a better pitch? I'm sure, but that works just fine.
Yeah.
I think being just straightforward. And I think a lot of people, when they're
Simplicity again, right?
starting in business, and I've made that mistake for so long. I wanted to inflate myself to be bigger than I actually was. And the more I inflated myself, the less people like me. But the humble I stayed, the more I said, hey, I'm small business. This is how I feed my family. Like, if you let me clean, your house, I'll be able to feed my, newborn daughter. Like, oh, sure, kid, go for it. We need cleaning anyway, right? So that's been a great marketing for me.
I have one last question for you. How can we support you, man? We have listeners, we have connections, we have a lot of stuff. I don't know if you knew or if you researched our story, but we don't own a cleaning company. We've never owned one. We don't plan on owning one. We just kind of stumbled into this industry and researched like podcast events. We worked with a few cleaning companies in lead generation actually, and we just fell in love with the people. That's how we ended up here. But if you ask me like how do you clean? I'm gonna say I don't know. But that's why I bring the experts in. We bring the experts in business, in life. We've had marriage counselors here, things that they're not gonna hear anywhere else that are needed to keep growing your business, right? So, anyways, how can we support you, man? Think of anything and we'll make it happen.
I think I'd love to connect. I love connecting with people. So anybody that is listening, if they want to reach out to me, mostly the only place where you can find me is on LinkedIn. I don't have personal social media platforms, or you can follow us or add us on your platforms for Zebra Cleaning or Panda Pest Control, and message us there. Talk to us, give us a little double tap the screen and make us look good online. But other than that, I would love to connect with people. I feel like the times when I've grown the most is when I was teaching somebody, when I was helping somebody learn. So if there's somebody that has a question, that anything that we spoke it's a topic of interest of theirs, I'd love to connect with them and talk. And I feel like as we talk, I learn more than they do. So in a very selfish reason, I would love to talk more business with other people and share the few things that have worked for us, and also share the many things that didn't work out. So maybe one or two people can avoid those mistakes. But other than that, I think I love it, dude. I would love to stay in touch with you guys and see how I can help. But yeah, that was great.
And is there anyone in particular that you would want them to serve you?
I think
to
the same
pour
thing.
onto you?
I think if we can collectively come together, right? I think the way I don't come from cleaning, and now I identify as a cleaner. I like to take pride on my fellow cleaners too. So let's make sure that we rise up collectively, not just me. At Zebra, we have decided to rise up and to be better. I'll love for all of our fellow cleaners to take on the same challenge, and collectively we can elevate our industry. We can elevate the perception of our clientele towards us, and that we can
100%.
make our name in our industry very well known and very respected. And I think respect begins with us. So I think as we do it collectively, it'll be a great thing. But in the meantime, I'll love to connect with just about everybody. I'm a chit chatter, so I'm always down to talk business.
So here in the show notes, we'll put your LinkedIn, Ismael Martinez, on LinkedIn. Go ahead and connect with them. Follow the account. Here, I'm going to let you do. If you had one message, let's say they skipped to the end of the podcast and you only had one message. They didn't hear anything else. They're like, you know what? I'm too busy. I can't listen to 2 hours. But you got to look at that camera and give them that message. What message would you give them? That's it. They're going to judge you based on this message.
I think that the first line that we started, there's wisdom and simplicity. Just keep it simple. I think the simple we keep business, the easier it'll be, the happier we will be. Just be a nice person. That's
Boom.
it.
So remember, keep it simple. Don't complicate your business, and it's going to make you money. We'll see you all on the next one in The Profitable Cleaner. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.